Let me turn Doc on. We're actually showing ourselves on YouTube this evening and on Twitch. Both of the links are in my channel and should be in Discord as well. So don't forget to hit them up. So what do we think? So obviously, Doc, you guys missed it on my stream, but introduce obviously the flight path coming down from this north, east down to southwest, and that we've got an EU versus NA teams, and rightly so. He said that NA guys are very much involved in paid and free scrims, and yes, they do miss out on information. What do I think is going to happen? I'd be shocked if we get an early drop in the Stauber, but I have seen some of the VE boys do that sometimes, and it might be a preferred drop for them now because they normally go for that mill to power, so you might see VE drop Stauber. Taverni's a 50-50. Yes, I'm expecting a team. We've got a double ATR stack this evening, red and blue team, so I'd love to see where those boys go, whether they're both going to go land school and flats, whether there's some kind of gentleman's agreement that one goes to school, one goes to flats, or if they've got a backup plan. Really keen to see that. Lachinki, normally mates will go there, or they'll go down towards the S road, so expect maybe a bit of traffic around middle grounds. And then Gatka at the moment, Doc's been really busy. Like, teams are really fighting to get the Gatka. And to be fair, a lot of this sort of western area, Gatka Quarry, seems to be really hot. So I don't think people are going to make it Georgie Pool this time, but I really think this round we're going to see a bit of traffic around the sort of Gatka and that sort of western area.
And I 100% agree. I mean, you might see a little bit of contention, especially going for a couple of the spawn Vics that happen around Gatka, just to try even mobilize themselves a little bit towards George Pool, which might even render Gatka a little useless, just simply for the fact that if you do lose some of those vehicles, you're basically running through an entire field just trying to rotate or even find your next vehicle. So kind of capturing those vehicles are relatively important. And as you said, VE doing their secondary drop, going out early, going towards Stallber, as it looks like Wixie, Rotters, Riot, Cal, a little bit of the ATR boys, and maybe even Tickle are deciding to go over towards Yaz right now. So we're going to be seeing maybe two teams, mainly one team in Tickle, just probably going for a Vic, trying to maybe regroup with his team. It looks like Merc, Mushu, and Nath are just trying to rotate or move maybe towards shelter, kind of prison area, as usually that's their strat. And as I called out earlier, the mates taking right over Pachinki. It looks like AF are going to be contesting ATR right over at those apartment buildings early on as well.
Yeah, ATR Red seem to be winning the bat there and taking the school flats out from their other team from Blue. Look, people might yell it's teaming or something. No, if you've got multiple teams, if you guys have a conversation and you have different drop zones, yeah, rightly so. Yeah, AFX fighting this. Now, the other day I was hosting, ATR didn't have the best game, and they found that they had teams drop on them one event, and they didn't really clear up, but they're definitely clearing teams at the moment with the first knock and confirm their ATR Embrace getting the first kill on the board this evening.
Absolutely. And as you continue to watch over onto that fight, I'm checking over onto Team 11 and to Team 10 as they both landed on a compound just towards the west of Yasnaya, not having that much loot inside this compound, let alone for 4 people to try and grab this. So Fancy is over here with a Vector with not much loot. He has a level 1 helmet and a shotgun. It looks like Pepe is going to be the first one to get the knock with the headshot clean onto Culty with that barrel. Again, he's also rocking only a level 1 helmet and a level 1 vest. But down goes Vamsi as well with Koyomi-kun, and so that's going to be 2 easy kills early on for Team 10, as Team 11 looks to try and at least kind of save the rest of the game, with Spree and Escobar being the last ones kind of hanging around other compounds.
ESP picking up 2 nice kills there early doors, and that's going to really affect. This first game is always interesting to see how teams play, because you're getting dropped on. The big question for these teams now is will ZR do that same drop again? And potentially land back on ESP, or maybe tighten themselves up, because Spree and Puppy is sitting nice and firm. And look at that, Rozuk uncontended as well.
Absolutely uncontended. And if you look over, as you were calling out a little bit earlier, if you look over at Gakka, you have Expired and GTS kind of hanging around there as well, as it looks like TS14 is trying to go for the rest of his boys, and Fenton and Pato that are kind of sharing a compound with Azza and them.
Yeah, you got to remember Gakka's always got the hard spawn car, and we're seeing at the bottom of my screen there, but teams have been really contesting for Gatka at the moment. It seems to be the up for grabs. Avita up and down. Oh, Expire getting Azir getting Fenton there. Good knock on the Vector. A couple of
that was an
Vectors.
Absolutely beast of a shot. Did you see how far that was? That was at least 100 meters out with a Vector. Clean Fenton's head off. Hit nothing but his noggin. And it looks like Lear trying to come in for a little bit of backup coming from that northern compound. It looks like Rido's going to get taken down by Polly, and he's going to get finished out by Jarky.
AJ getting to confirm nice and quick there. Yeah, but Lear with a big wrap there. Lear should be able to see some backs and packs here with TS14 sitting on the back side of this compound. He is using the bushes for cover. He's able to get in, but Expired really got the better positioning of Gatka over GTS. GTS are very stuck in this one corner. I think we're going to see Lear be able to light up Fenton and TS14. TS14's bumped away. Really surprised that Lear can't see him. Bushes are just
giving a tad bit of cover that's not going to be visible, especially in FPP. If this was TPP, again, chat, totally different. If you're coming into TPP to an FPP.
Great shot, on Expired going down to, Lear down to a one shot there. AFX though, we've just missed. They've gone out. First team out the first game. Will they drop on flats? I doubt it. ATR, despite getting a couple of knocks themselves, but Red really capitalizing on the flats.
Absolutely, and it looks like GT actually managed to make their way all down to Millie base, kind of by themselves, as they're gonna get started on rotating as Desto's in his car, getting ready to go, making sure that he's not getting bridge camped. It looks like ATR doing a little bit of griefing, might be shooting at some cars or shooting their bodies actually, as they're a little upset. As I think they're still a full 4-man, but they don't like anybody dropping on them, and they're making sure that they feel the wrath even afterwards of losing that battle.
There is mind games to this. There is that whole like angering people, making a fight, sort of confirming that this is my turf, and ATR have proved that. As I said the other day, they did get turned over in there, so it looks like from last week to this week, these guys have really turned it around and reconfirmed why no one goes to that location.
Oh, absolutely. They make sure they reinforce it. And even if they do manage to lose that spot even a couple of times, they are so persistent with taking over that. And so they will continue to drop on that every single time until they start winning those battles. So we still have, I believe it's the Expired and the GTS boys kind of hanging around. It's Slim and Lear just hanging outside of Paddle. But Paddle's kind of well equipped for this, as they're in a closer range for that Bison to actually do some damage. It looks like Fenton and TS14 kind of held up in a kind of one stack, and Fenton goes down with a great nade by Slim. TS14 just on the outside of this, making sure that there's no push, but TS14 also getting taken down by Slim. Paddle just trying to hold something off his splits is also from a little bit farther out. Looks like Lear is going to get taken down by Paddle as that Bison comes into play. Paddle's going to get taken down by Slim as he's 1v3ing as of right now. Azza coming in.
Up to splits
Los
now.
as well.
I think he's done the right thing. He's got the concern. Oh, Uzi! No way you're going to win that fight with an Uzi.
Not at all. Very unfortunate. As now I think it's Expired is going to go down to I think 1 maybe if they manage to get the thirst onto this. Great shots coming out from Pato as now he takes down Slim, and I believe now Expired are only 1 up with Azza.
Splits is defending all day long here. Oh!
And unfortunately,
Down
Azza is the only one to stay back up as they pick up 4 kills, but losing 3 in the process. Not the best of ways that you want to start, but at least you managed to keep some kind of points on the board before going out.
Picker and Co being picked up here by Komi. ESP on the rotation. Right at the stop, they've lost one and shot out the car. Come on, Cal. He's hiding behind a bike, mate. You must be able to get him. There we go. He's got the tags on him now. Right, Cal dropping Komi. Fortunately, the bike was not big enough.
Lizard trying to come in with a little bit of a buggy action, maybe even just calling off saying I might not go for that res, simply for the fact, like you said, they only have a bike. They have a little bit of smoke as kind of cover, but I mean the buggy's not really ideal for trying to push or even trying to get some better cover as well. Looks like Cal getting a couple more shots onto Lizard. He's brought down to a probable 2-shot as he's at 35% of his health. It looks like Pepe and them might just want to get ready to rotate. Ghosted, GT Ghosted and GT Kizza hanging around on top of GWG and Rat and McVidia as they're on top of that compound as well, a little bit towards the southern part of the map.
Look at that placement there for GT. GT is such a great area for them to hold up. They've done a 2-2 split. They're ready for the zone to rotate either way here. Obviously with Jetsy and the guys, they're sitting on that left-hand side, that trench. I personally love that trench. We see zone come back this way, but these guys are really edging their bets. They want it to come down in the field where GWG are. Looks like the guys GWG have struggled with cars and having to go on the pickup, but again, McVitie getting shot there through GT, and Topopsy will be able to understand if he needs to rotate back to the boys, he knows which way to go. But again, both these teams getting a bit of cover and trying to get a bit of real estate, waiting for this zone to bounce.
Absolutely, and as you see, Lizard actually putting some great shots earlier onto Cal, as Cal's actually stuck in the zone, as I believe Rodders is the only one up, and he's managing to make his way to zone as well. It looks like the ATR boys having a little bit of an affair going on with each other as they're trying to start shooting from school, and the rotations around from Fable, JB, Buzz, and Townie. Koyomi-kun managed to get the thirst onto Cal, so they're going to pick up an extra point.
That was the other way around. Right, Cal not Koyomi, so the boys did get the res, and then Koyomi managed to get his own back on Cal there, knocking him out. Yeah.
It looks like Asa might be playing a little passive, just waiting, and that's a crazy southern shift as that's going right around Ferry Pier. Desto, Jetty, Kizza, and Ghosted seem to be in the best of positions as there's plenty of water to still kind of play around as well. There's still another center compound just to the western part of that field on the south side, so that can still potentially be crashed. But Desto, Jetty, Kizza, Ghosted playing very well and doing a nice 2-2 split as Desto and Jetty are still centered up, and Kizza and Ghosted do need to back off for whatever reason. They do have that safety blanket in them.
It's really interesting to see all these South teams doing these splits and holding these compounds. We're seeing a huge shift now from all the other teams having to shift into zone. My big question is, does Anto Pop and DWG deal pull together with Ratatat and McVitie and try and hold the compound, or do they stay as a 2-2 split? I'm a bit worried that they might get crashed, maybe not in this zone, but in the next zone. And if they don't shift now, that you might find they're going to get caught out on the rotation, because that is a big distance to chunk off getting across.
Absolutely, and if they're going to do it, they have to do that almost ASAP. It would probably be their best interest to actually start crashing that compound relatively right now. If you know anything about competitive PUBG, you know, and about Phase 3, it shifts all the way off of the water. Maybe leaves a little bit more for Phase 4 to try and take away. But if you consider the water that's playing a part right now, you would assume that Team 1 would regroup, hold this, and assume that the water is coming away, and they would play that compound. They're still trying to do a 2-2 split, but it looks like Gravity and the mates pulls right up to Ghosted into Kizza, as now we're going to get some heavyweight action really early on.
Hard to say, we're about to lose
Ghosted and Kizza look like they're getting ready to start rotating away from this. Spree getting a nice little knock. I think Kizza's just going to start getting away. Yep, it looks like Desto and I believe it's Jetty going to be able to try and get some shots, trying to hold the mates back off. And it looks like GT is going to manage to get out of there unscathed. And that's why you always stay by your vehicle, especially if you have a bike, ladies and gents.
So I was about to write off ZR, but ZR has just dropped 2 as Zoo with the confirm. Puppy has been down. He's been down for a while. Spree's the only guy up here, but that's the end of it. A bit of commentator's curse, but he managed to pick up a kill and get a knock. Unable to get the last, but ZR out.
Teal taking a great bolty shot over onto Bloost as he's down for, I believe this is his second knock. He didn't even get to met up that last time as Spree was just trying to tag everybody and hold them back for him to at least try and make some kind of a play. It looks like BG crashing into that other center compound just opposite side of Rat and McVitie as they're trying to hold off the mates currently. Looks like ATR, I believe that might be Blue or ATR at Team 12. And them are going to be holding the northern part of that circle as Lizard, Koyomi-kun, and them trying to make their way in as well. Expired as a kind of hanging around the compound. He's going to try and snake this way in. The same for Riders, as Riders also eating just a tad bit of blue, trying to play it safe for the rest of his team. As we get ready for this next zone to kind of collapse, we're going to start to see everybody maybe even panic just a tad bit as there's not many compounds to play in this field. Team 1 and having that 2-2 split right now with Rat and McVitie being in a prime position that can take shots at almost everybody in the field is definitely something that they're going to want to do. But like you said a little earlier, if they are going to try and rotate, it's going to be a little hard of a rotation as they're going to have to rotate at least between Team 3 and Team 14 and then hopefully land inside the compound with Team 13 even potentially shooting at them as well.
It's too much of a chunk for them to take off now. They're not going to be able to get through that gap, I don't think. They're lucky enough they've both still got real estate in the zone. As we said a minute ago, it's going to come away from water. I've seen it do a couple of crazy moves from here. I've seen it actually tighten down to Ferry Pier and then bounce up to where sort of McVitie and Ratatat are. But on the flip side, it could also bounce out to the field, really causing Antopop and the guys just a bit of a difficulty to get across that road and up the hill. We would expect Zoo now to come in and that this Zoo Rebel fight with Rodders tailing on this west-hand side. This is going to be a fight for this sort of area. These teams are going to want to play this band of forest that sits in the middle. And I think a lot of these teams are going to have to tighten up for that fight. Big chunk here for Zoo. I think we see Rebel play this a lot, very more passive. They want to work their way into zone, but I don't think they're going to be able to get away with another passive zone shift. They're going to have to take the fight on with Zoo because Zoo should surely just be crippling it into and waiting for the next zone. Wait for that next zone, big commitment shift.
Absolutely. And Team 10 looking like they're getting a really good rotation, managed to actually have 2 people make it all the way towards Ferry Pier, and then 2 guys also in the middle of the field in a shack. I believe that's because one of the tires may have gotten popped as it, yep, that UAS is definitely smoking. One of the tires popped, leaving Beater and Pepe kind of just alone inside of the shack. And here we go, like you were saying, with that Rebel and Zoo fight ensuing.
Kenny's in a wicked rotation. Kenny's actually gone low, so he's going to have the sides of Zoo. Going to force them to move away. They've got the knock and confirm now. They need to keep going. Kenny has to keep flanking this right hand side and then get the angle. Looks like Zoo's given up and they're trying to back away from this and know they're popping down now. Great shots from the guys. Boosters away.
They know that they definitely have to reposition at this point. It looks like GWG managed to also get out of there, and ATR Poly managed to sneak up onto the mates as the mates had no clue what was happening as they're being crashed for this hill.
And we're seeing a lot more teams now having to commit to zones and get the realist.
Tactical's taking down Embrace. Poly making sure that he takes down someone before he goes down as well, and it's all up to Oki, I believe that it is.
Oki's the last guy. No, Demstic's on the right hand side there. He's had a big rank there. He's trying to go for the res. Good grenade going in.
Great nades coming out as Embrace is going to get hit with that car. It looks like, and just fly right over him. Jarky going to take down Demstic with a nice mini shot. VE coming into third party this as well as Jarky's now getting shot in the back. Oki's looks like he might get up Tacticals. And so now they're going to be at least a solid 2-man up. It looks like Hazy trying to push over onto this before anything bad can happen. Hazy getting the 2-piece.
GG's. Hazy's actually picking up a 3 there, I believe. JJ's now, hold on. JJ's been knocked.
Jarky unfortunately getting tagged up as well, and Hazy definitely has to just go and play life at this point. Maybe even try and crash that compound that GWG managed to leave.
He's got to go. Fair play. Well played there from ATR Reds. Just unlucky. VE doing the right thing and moving in on the right times, taking the third party, not allowing anyone to stop and think. Hayes is taking himself over to the next ridge. He is.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. DBZ kind of centered up as we were saying that it's going to be moving away from that water. And it looks like Hazy trying to take on a 1v4 by himself as they try and continue their spree of 8 kills as he's holding half of those. He should have probably kept going as he's going to start getting surrounded at this point.
Stopped him for the run now, but it might be a bit too late. That car's got no tires. The bike's laying down. He's going to have to push the bike up if he wants it. He's turned in.
Managed to get out of there. Can he be fast enough before they start tagging him off the bike, though?
Just got it, mate. Well done.
Just got it.
I think he's going to send it center zone here, though, but he's going to roll straight into Pepe. ESP's going to be waiting for this one. Oh, he's just clocked the door. He clocked the door. Oh, he's been shot.
Oh, the Beater shooting Hazy clean off of the bike.
Wow. He clocked the door. If you notice, Hazy clocked the door then. He pulled away to go further afield. But yeah, great shots there. And to be fair, he's only a 1 shot.
Great shots. It looks like Azza might be in a little bit of a fight with Tickle as Azza tries to run for his life at this point as Tickle's trying to hunt him down. It looks like I believe WC might have actually gotten a care package as Nate is actually rocking an AUG as Tickle managed to pick up all of the armor to go with it, and so they kind of separated with that for the most part. But it looks like Azza is going to manage to sneak away from Tickle, sneak his way into zone, and continue to hold that edge. He's at least in 11th place. He still needs at least 3 more teams to die out, so he can at least try and get some kind of placement with maybe 4 kills.
Good repositioning from VE. They know that if they carried on going flat across, GT would have potentially had the fight on them. So they've actually this is good knowledge of the map. They've actually come down towards the roadside to take this sort of cliff face in order to give them a bit of cover. Logic is they know there's going to be a team sitting in those trenches, so this is the better side to attack from because you can actually use the roadside and they're keeping their cars clean. I think we're seeing VE trying to hold out this next zone and wait for the big zone shift. Really unlucky for GWG. They made a big push over. It hasn't gone their way.
Jetsy goes down. Jetsy actually gets taken down, and I don't know if VE are going to manage to try and move up on this or what they're going to try and do is as they're not necessarily rezzing Jetsy almost immediately, as I don't think Desto should have tried to put on a heal before going for that, but Ghost is trying to go for the res onto Jetsy now. It doesn't look like they're going to be pushing over, so I believe they're going to be able to at least hold
they might go now with that second knock.
Taken down by Rousel with that second knock. They definitely have to push over.
Now.
Rousel getting extremely aggressive, but Kids are trying to hold the angles. Rousel brought down to about 38% of his health. Jetsy finally back up, so they're at least up to a 3-man. Ghost is trying to go for the quick res onto Desto as well. Kizza trying to just hold on a 1v4.
Kizza's got to defend this one here. This is down to Kizza. He's actually backing away. He's going to allow V into the trenches here.
Jetsy manages to put on a first aid and try and hold from the opposite side as well. He's using that cover really nice.
Ghosted really whiffed his shots there. He had this Sutty and Ollie absolute rights there, but missing all his shots allowed V to reposition. That's
Rebel looks like they're getting just tagged up from everywhere. Long shots from WC coming out, as well as Rat and them taking down the rest of Rebel as well. And it looks like they might be the next team to go out as they start to collapse on them. And there you have it, ladies and gents. Rebel going out in 11th place.
VE still on the push. They've managed to get up to the trenches. ET have tightened up an hour back to a 4-man.
Ghosted kind of being the point woman on this, as she's kind of just watching and making sure that they're not pushing up on as she gets ready to start repositioning as well. As VE and GT both actually have to move into the compound that VG has been just constantly sitting in.
VE going back to the vehicles. Look at this. VE are running back for the vehicles. The only reason they made the push for that great shots they're Ghosted. The only reason they pushed up for that secondary knock, this might actually cause them off. What great shots from Ghosted. Do you know what? Ghosted put himself in such good positions here. I know she whiffed those shots earlier, but look at the positioning. She's just tearing apart the angles here and trying to ensure that they don't get pushed up on VE. Definitely from Ghosted.
Actually doing a great job, as she also managed to not only just get the only kill out of that match, but she also managed to res both Jetty and Desta almost immediately before that push.
MVP. Let's go. What is still alive? Making its way in.
Same thing for Azza, as he's just going to be potentially just holding on to that wall, as he's going to be all alone by himself, kind of just held up inside of a shack. And once again, like I said, with VG, they only have 1 kill. They've been center zone this entire time practically. So they haven't been getting many kills onto this, but they are going to get some placement points as Riders get taken down by Mushu.
One more team and then we're in the point pot. 9 teams remain, 29 people store up. Big fights out here. VE have crashing into Buzz. Oh, we sent him in the car as well.
Wow. Sutty taking down Buzz. Bernie getting the flush onto that. VE Ali getting taken down by Desto from extremely far away, as it looks like GT are getting rotated upon by Koyomi-kun and them. Lizard getting taken down. Sutty and Bernie getting taken down by ATR as well. And Townie also getting taken down by WC from afar.
No way is ESP so desperate for loot. They've actually come out to the middle of the field. Homie is itching for loot.
Lizard gonna get stolen out by Kiza, as Biba cannot also get the flush onto his knock as well. Holy mother of
Why is he coming here? That's costing 1 person. Why have they made that play? Dude, going out. 8th place.
Antopop just doing absolute damage with that mini.
Really interesting play here by ESP. No idea. JB though, look at this. He's already on the move. He's trying to get the angles. Look at his shoes while he does it. He's gonna be coming up here.
Looks like JB just trying to do something.
No, he's gonna
maybe trying to make his way towards Fable. Fable brought down to an absolute 1-shot, and so is Koyomi, as they managed to try and tag each other up. But the rest of Team 10 also have to make their way into zone.
Wow, JB.
You're going to start getting shot at from everybody.
With a great rotation, but WC just not allowing it for him and getting caught out and going down to 1 HP and getting touched by the zone.
At least he's still technically denied points at that point.
Yeah, give him that.
It looks like VG once again centered up, and it looks like Ratatat and them finally getting at it, as GT managed to start trying to push onto Team 1, as Team 1 is only still a 3-man. Fable getting taken down by WC Merc. Still trying to just get some kind of a headshot. Ghosted putting some shots down, but also getting tagged up in return, and she's brought down to about a 1-shot. Jetty also trying to put down some suppressing fire. Same thing for Kiza. Desto also brought down to about 50% of his health as well, as he needs to start trying to make it over there.
Coming out. Antopop going down.
Antopop going down. That is not what Team 1 needed at all. Jetty getting taken down in return by Rat. Kiza and Ghosted also both brought down to about at least 50% before Ghosted managed to put that health on. Yep, they're gonna have time for it too.
Yeah, they're getting Ghosted again. Slow. Picking the res, mate.
But Desto knocking down Antopop for a 2nd time, and Ghosted once again, like you said, sticking that res no matter what, as she continues to be the MVP of this. Antopop might actually be getting taken down, as Desto managed to get the bleed out, as WC and VG cannot get thirst onto it. Ratatat taking down Kiza, as Kiza's down. Jetsy's still down to an absolute 1-shot. They're not going to be able to get that res now. Maybe try and get a smoke, as Ghost is trying to sneak it. Trying to keep the 4-man alive.
Desto is just holding as much as he can. Merc's now done rusted out. WC rotating around the other way. He's just
Rat
hammering.
actually getting taken down from extremely far from Merc, and he's gonna actually take
a
down the
double.
rest of GWG.
ET though
Ghosted
loses
has
too.
to get both Jetsy and Kizza at this point. But it doesn't look like Jetsy's going to be able to make it. He's bleeding out extremely fast.
Kizza needs to get in and avoid the blue. But
He's
yeah,
gonna manage to
clear
put on a
now.
first aid before that.
GT clear on this south side now. They're gonna play a little bit comfortable now. I don't believe these two drops in front have been got either. Wonder if these boys are gonna pick up. Hit with an MK and one.
And an Alm in the other. If Desto manages to pick up that MK, it's going to be hell to pay. He is an absolute beast at spraying that at full auto. I have no idea how he does it. The man is about, I think he's 17, 18 years old. When he was, I think I started playing with him when he was like maybe 16, 15 years old. And when I tell you this man has an absolute god of a shot, I've never seen anything like it. He's still in the prime career of his PUBG life. As he's going to put down some shots over onto Team 10. Eating a tad bit of blue, can't afford to do that, especially getting tagged up now.
Will VG be tempted by this drop? It's right outside their building.
That's absolutely crucial. If they manage to actually go for that, they're gonna get fresh gear. Not saying that they don't have fresh gears. All of them look like that they're doing relatively well. As like I said, they've been going center zone for the majority of the map. And it looks like WC have to try and manage to push up onto VG and get a crucial knock before they can do that. GT Desto managed to knock down Pepe, and he's not going to be available for a res as Koyomi-kun and them have to try and push towards zone. I believe that car actually has no tire, so there's no potential way for that to happen.
EG now needs to really focus on WC and not allow them across the roads. They couldn't have they should have stopped them doing that. Of course, some issues now. VG are very much focused on the field now, looking at the kills, but not thinking about the end game. I think this could be a mistake that allowing WC to get over to the other side. Uncontended, really. Not even one shot lane on these guys here at the moment.
Ghosted finally getting her vest actually tagged up and broken at this point. That's not going to be looking too hot for her. Desto managed to get another knock as, like I said, that man is just an absolute god when it comes to DMRs, as he's going to continue spraying onto this.
The thing is, these guys can come down the rock, play the right hand side, block out WC and VG, and really just focus on ESP. Team 16 still alive, still crawling in. Still got some zone.
Ghosted and them trying to get the knock onto Beater. Bibok managed to get the knock, and the flush goes out to Kizza, as Desto looks like he's going to be just holding on, but Ghosted is going to get knocked out, and she doesn't look like she's available for res. Koyomi-kun is going to get the thirst clean onto her as well. And Mushu is going to manage to be the one to take down Koyomi-kun instead.
Look at that flank all the way on the left-hand side on the field to get that flushed out. Unaware that Team 16 is just sitting out in the field. We're down to our top 4 now, and unfortunately 2 of them actually sitting with one man. GT though have been doing bits. I think this could be the end of Desto now. Down for another vet.
Desto's gonna manage to actually make it to the care package in the only spot that nobody's gonna be able to shoot him. And no, he's gonna get the thirst out onto Desto.
GT though, what a first game. Big shout out to Ghosted. Absolutely, just getting involved, like getting the reses, getting the knocks, holding the angles, just putting a shift in. Interesting play. But I think both these teams, VG and WC, will be looking at this going, right, there's 5 people up. We're 4 of. So it could be, it's definitely not a 4-man team and a 1. I think they'd be thinking it might be a 3 and a 2, or maybe they might have a couple, maybe a 2s, but they'll be really looking at this thinking, actually, hold on, look at the numbers. We know there's a team in front of us, but where are they? And how many are there?
We talk about the story of Azza, as this man has made it all the way from Gaka towards the final zone with the same 4 kills, manages to make it towards this next zone and potentially giving himself a shot at maybe 3rd place as WC and VG continue to look at each other.
Well, he's definitely in 3rd place now. The question is, can he get to 2nd?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely insane.
As long as he stays low here, you'd expect the WC boys not to see him, because there is a slight ridge. Just depends how far Mushu and Nath come over.
That is exactly what I was about to say, as Nath and Mushu trying to get angles over onto VG, and I believe that they're not trying to overpeak because they're probably doing the math in their head and seeing 9 up. And I'm pretty sure they're not trying to get 3rd-partied. It looks like Azza still crawling his way and trying to make his way towards this hay bale, as VG versus WC still continues to ensue.
Look at the end game now, right? He's got the middle zone to his left, and all the people in front of him. So as long as VG fight WC, he could potentially play himself into a centralized zone a little bit better, or for a bit longer without being picked up. It all depends on how quickly Mushu and Nath get off looking his way and trying to check out the field and realize people in front. But it comes down to those maths. These guys will be looking at it going, actually, hold on. If this is a 4-man or if it's a 3-man, where are the other 2? Where's the other 1 player? Where are they sitting? Because you know you're not going to have 2 teams sitting that close without the gunfire happening. And now we see Zone 9 is about to pop in. These teams are going to have to fight for the centralized zone, coming in for round number 1 now.
And it looks like, I believe, WC versus VG at this point going to probably go for a head-to-head battle. And Azza maybe just eating a little bit too much blue as he's brought down to about half his health. He definitely needs to start moving, as I believe Merc is actually going to start driving and moving his car towards center zone, giving himself a little bit more cover. As VG definitely have to start moving as well. They got a little too comfortable. Merc having a huge off angle. Mushu taking down Lems. Azza just trying to sneak his way towards the second place as Major Gurf also was taken down by Tickle. Tickle getting the thirst onto Major Gurf. Azza still snaking his way through this.
He's actually out crawling the zone. Merc, for me, what a wrap here for Merc. He's really opened up the angles.
Nath taking down Philic as it's all up to Bibok at this point. Mushu looks like he's going to get taken down as well. Bibok versus Nath. Nath is going to go down, and WC only at 2-man up and can't expire as a do
Getting
anything.
To seconds. Go on, son.
Crazy nade. Might even consider dying, as I believe WC is going to get at least 3 back up as they do manage to get Nath. Mushu might actually be available for a res as well, if they get that relatively quick. And it looks like, I believe, Azza just might want to die to zone, as now they're all 4 back up.
They've got to see him now. They've got to see him.
They have to. And Azza not being able to do much.
Jeez, Azza. GG's. Right, let me capture that action replay, because, mate, you crawled pretty much the whole way there, brother. Well done. Anyway, so that's round number 1. WC rocking in first place. And what an aggressive play. Let's remember that they came up onto the hill. They were shooting long distance there, taking out on the other side of this compound. They managed to push into the compound and across. I think VG would be kicking themselves. They shouldn't have allowed WC to push from one side of that compound to the other. They should have held that road and stopped them pushing across. Expired.
Absolutely.
Rightly so, getting to second place. Big shout for you guys. GG's. You snaked it to the end, and that is what you call being a snake. It gets you to the second place. But yeah, picking up the kills as well. VG got his 3rd place. I think you guys will be disappointed when you go back and look at it. GT in 4th. They outstanding play by them, and a big shout for Ghosted. They're only picking up 1 kill, but just being in those right positions, stopping teams, pushing up, getting the reses in when they need to. Proper team effort. ESP coming in 5th place. Let's have a quick look at the action replay. Obviously, we're just literally sitting here with just holding it out, not doing much, but trying to do the bits where he physically can. A couple of grenades out, might have got lucky. I think he could have done it maybe a little bit better. He saw there was a couple of people down. Maybe he could have got up on his feet. He had nothing to lose at that point. He was potentially a 2-on-1, but obviously he snaked it out, carried on going. This is where WC literally pick him up and wham bam, thank you, man. Winner, chicken dinner. Right,
absolutely.
That's game number 1. Obviously,
You want me to?
Let's
put up number 2 right now.
Yeah, I've got 2s going up. I'm putting lobby number 2 up. It's going to be Miramar. We will see you guys in a second.
I woke up again at 5 a.m. Can't get you off my mind. Can't figure out who I am if I can't call you mine. These 4 walls come caving in. I can't get no rest. Outside, breathing in your last cigarette. I would've followed you down, baby. Followed you down. How many been in your bed lately? You really make your way around. You say you lay with me forever, but I'm alone when I'm around. drunk I can't call and ask why you left me for someone else. I'm just trying to make last call and get drunk while you fall into love with someone else. I don't know where I've been. I taste like ash and wine. When you wake up with him, does his body feel like mine? I would fall you down, baby, fall you down, down, down. I've been even in your bed lately. You really make your way around. You say you lay with me forever, but I'm alone with another round, with another round. I'm just trying to make last call. If I'm too drunk, I can't call and ask why you left me for someone else. I'm just trying to make last call and get drunk while you fall into love with someone else. I've been sad before, but not like this. Cause I had it bad for you since our first kiss. Oh.
Said, ladies and gents, we are coming now from the bottom of Los Leones, coming from just to the right of those islands towards the south of Los Higos, all the way up to Campo Militar, eliminating almost all of that western side of the map. And as I was saying in the intro, ladies and gents, that we are going to be continuing to see different angles that are going to be being played. We're going to see a lot of different ridges and a lot of different mountains that teams are going to be playing from, opposed to just the normal hard cover that you would have in Erangel. Miramar is a completely different play style for all of these teams. We know the mates are going to still continue to land in the center towards Picado. They're going to be taking that over. We're going to see where AF are going to actually land, because I believe ATR are having a different drop than normal, and if they're going to be contesting anybody. AF, they have a lot to prove after going out. I believe it was first in that entire time. Can Team 10 manage to keep more than just 2 alive for the majority of it? And can GWG manage to take a little bit more fights on? I know they were a 3-man a little too early, as they would like to be, but they were putting in some work against GT. Bringing that said, Mark, you have any other recap that you want to start going over?
I think you covered it, mate, to be fair. Apart from you sell Campo Militar a lot sexier than I would, mate, put it that way. My dodgy accent. But yeah, this flight path is not great for a lot of teams. We know this map isn't anywhere. A lot of teams either favour or don't favour it. With this whole sort of east side plane, we're going to see very choke points. Most people, I think, are going to be jumping for the cars. We're going to see about out the left of Los Leones and those roads there coming down where the countdown is. We're going to see people jump for the motors and try and get themselves out. I think this is going to come down to experience of where people know the hard spawn vehicles are and able to rotate out. Zone placement, I think a lot of teams in the IGLs be looking at this thinking it's going to be coming down towards the sort of southeast, but I think this zone could do something crazy. I want to see teams potentially pushing towards that Picardo power grid. I think the zone could bounce that way, but we're going to have to wait and see.
Absolutely, and we definitely need a better performance coming out from the mates, as they didn't impress anybody coming into that first. And like I was saying earlier, granted they got pinched between both ATR and VE, but if they managed to at least hold ATR off of there and waited for VE, ATR would have been in the worst of positions, and then the mates probably would have been even in a better position than they once were. But with that being said, they are getting ready to drop as well, and can they make up in game number 2 as they look to shake things up on a different map?
Yeah, a lot of people, as I said, look, they are jumping out. It looks like these people are going for the vehicles. WC, they're taking out the early drop, and they're obviously going for a different style of play. ATR, Zoo, VG, all really going to be tending for those cars out towards Chum. They're although but taking the aggressive play and actually dropping down on the flight path. But look at that, paid off. Los Leones all to themselves. Now, we can see normally 3 or 4 teams stuck in there without even fighting, but everyone else is opting to jump out and spread the gap.
Looks absolutely amazing. And as you can see, actually, Zoo looked like they're trying to look for some cars around where VG and ATR are also going to be landing. GT having a nice little split over by La Bendita. And then you also have Rebel kind of landing around the area of WC. So we might see a little bit of early gunfights. And there you have the zone finally popping around all of ATR, Hazy, and the rest of the Rebel boys and all of WC as well. ZR managed to actually make their way in as well.
Crazy thing, obviously, apart from that zone shift really down south. ATR embraces decided to shoot his own boy. I reckon he must have. Is he lagged out?
No, he's in a fight actually right now with DP6 as Polly's trying to hold
down
the cars off.
That is teamwork there, bro. Sit by the tires, you should be all right.
Absolutely doing work to try and save him is Polly, as he's coming absolutely in clutch with that buggy. And as they get ready to get back to a full 4-man, it looks like DPX brought down to almost a 1-shot, but he's going to manage to get as far away as possible from all of those ATR boys.
GG's, boys. GG.
If you look at the other ATR boys, I believe that's ATR Blue and Fable and Townie and JD, they actually landed over at this compound, leaving Lear and Slim kind of stranded for themselves, as they're actually just running naked away from all of the ATR boys. Asa kind of being a little bit towards the northern compound of that might get a little bit better loot than what the rest of the expired boys are. They're going to try and take over that other western part. They can even potentially run over towards Power Grid and maybe even get a little bit better loot than they once had. But with that being said, they're going to be wasting a little bit more time trying to get that extra loot, finding another vehicle especially, and trying to rotate. So they might actually be a little tad bit late. So they want probably Asa and Los to try and go extremely fast into their next zone.
This is going to be horrible. I'm just sitting there thinking, this is horrible. Look at the main roads down. Mates are going to be interesting play for them. Will the IGL hold at Picardo and hope for the cars coming down and around? Or do they make the play for centralized zone now? Interesting. Maybe taking the central early doors. Maybe it's not the right play. Maybe waiting for zone 2, zone 3. We have to see. GT good positioning again. They could do the same on this east side. They could hold out one of the roads and potentially catch some of these cars coming down. A lot of these teams are gonna have to rotate, and the zone had popped and people were still in the air parachuting. So half the amount of time now, these guys are gonna have to start rotating soon. I'm just really keen to see how they come down and where these cars come down. We may see AFX, if they play smart, they might rotate out to the west, down towards Monty, and all the way down and push their way around on this west-hand side.
As we actually get an early, quick fight between Az and Fables, as Fables brought down to an absolute 1, and Az a absolute 100% of his health. But Townie also on the other side of this, trying to get some kind of angle, and Azza doesn't have any lethals to try and take this down. Townie getting a nice shot over onto Azza at this point. And Fable gonna get taken down, as Azza should probably try and put some bandies on, as he's gonna start doing right now, between Townie trying to hold some different angles. He might even get a good nade in there, as that's exactly what he's gonna do. And Azza's probably gonna go down to that nade as long as it makes it in, as it does, and Azza goes down.
Great nade.
And so Expired only brought to 3-man, as that's not the start that they want. And unfortunately, their Snake looks like that he's sung his last song at this point, as now Slim and them actually starts to get ready to start crashing over onto Townie. And Slim getting taken down immediately by Townie. He didn't even need to FPP aim. He straight TPP'd that. Lear looks like he's might wanting to revenge. This might be some kind of strat from Expired at this point, trying to see who can snake the longest for the most part.
This might be, yeah. This is now Loz's go. Like, Loz, this is up for you, mate, now to get to second place. Let's see if you can do the same. Game on game. Jeez.
With that being said, it looks like Rebel starting to scout down over onto where WC are. They look like they might even want a little bit more revenge, especially shooting them in the back last game from those long ranges. It looks like Lem's going to get shot at by Demshik. Gravity and Tacticals starting to get ready to rotate with Oki as well. And so Lem's kind of just left out by himself as he continues to run. But he's going to get tagged up by Demshik, just manages to break just the line of sight.
Right, as these guys start to rotate, before we get into the action, have a quick look at the leaderboard. Obviously, just updated now. Winner Circle taking up first place there, 23 points. ESP in second based upon the kills. They also have the same amount of points as GT and Expired, but GT in third, Expired in fourth. BG taking fifth, even though they were in a centralized compound for quite some time, but only picking up 9 points. ATR Red in sixth, GWG in seventh, and GTSR in eighth.
And like I was saying also relatively earlier, no team has necessarily ran away from this as we look to shake things up, kind of going into the second map. And we're going to start to see some different gameplay, like I was saying. It looks like Lear looks like he's going to be taking onto a fight with Fable as well, as Townie's also going to be there. Lear brought down to almost an absolute one-shot. Fable brought down to a one-shot as well, but they have JB shooting from afar as well with that mini. He looks like he's going to get ready to cross the road, and Lear's going to get taken down. Townie's brought down to about 70% of his health. Los getting on the same mountain that Townie's going to be at. And I don't think Los has any clue that he wants to start snaking this at this point. Los has absolutely no helmet, so he gets drilled in his head.
He needs to back away. He's only going to pop out with his head now. Townie's going to come up. He hasn't even got time now. Townie's going to come up and over here. Headshot. There we go.
And there you have it. Like you were saying, JB coming in with those critical headshots to put down Los, and out go Expired after having their snake sneak their way all the way towards the second place. ATR Embrace manages to take down Kenny. They're going to go out in 16th place. The mates crashing right onto where Lems is at, as Lems is trying to hide away, but Oki and Demshik manages to find out where Lem is, and he's going to get taken down.
Right little spot
and
where
VG are going to be a 3-man.
Yeah, Lem's a bit too far out. I don't know if they were trying to do the split or if he got caught out on the rotation. At least you got there the same time you did, and mates were crashing in, and he had nowhere to go.
Absolutely. Ali managing to actually make his way all the way around. I have no idea how he just drove through all of Riot and Wixie and them, but manages to sneak his way all the way through with Rouza, as they're kind of, I guess you could say, roadblocking, as the rest of the VE boys trying to start make their way as well. They're going to take the beach side, as Ali made sure that he gave that information really quick.
AFX did take the west coast, and they are rotating on the west side, uncontended really. They're going to be able to sit in there nice and tight and maybe get a couple of zones. Interestingly, Rebel had taken off a bigger chunk and obviously worked their way in. That's not really like Rebel. We see them more sitting on the outside and working their way in zone on zone, and just taking it a bit off at a time. As you mentioned, VE with the big call out there with team number 9, Pia Pickle and Co. trying to do a roadblock, able now to get round. Interested to see which way these guys rotate in. They've got multiple rows now to come in. That are pushing away from Los Leones. I would have actually stayed in there maybe for another round. This is going to shift back. We know the water's there. I'm just interested to see whether it goes east or west now.
I 100% agree. And what I'm trying to figure out is what Fenton and Pato are actually thinking as they continue to rotate deep in the blue. As Splits is managing to try and get away from Team 10 as well right now, as he has 2 as well inside the car, as they actually might rotate next to where Riot's at. But I don't think Riot are going to have, or excuse me, Riot and ZR are going to have any kind of visual onto that. And there you have it. Like you were saying, pulls completely away from the water, and the mates actually getting blessed with the zone, as they have one of the most prime compounds to work with.
Yeah, so they can either sit tight on where they are, and we do see it come back towards where they're sitting, but they've also got the other play to the bigger compound, which I'm just getting off on camera now. That one would be a better situation for them to play off, but it's also easier for teams to crash into them and sneak up. So I'll be interested to see what mates do, whether they might do a 2-2 split. They might just play the bowl, which is just like south side of that compound there. That is a really good area for them to play as well. And just maybe try and get another phase out of this situation before we see teams really crashing in these locations.
Absolutely. And it looks like Gravity and Dempsey getting a little tad bit hungry for this care package as we go to look to see what's inside of that care package actually, and why they're so hungry for it. I know, granted, they get the fresh gear, ladies and gents, but especially that crate gun with that Groza.
Worth it. 100%.
I have my own theories about the Groza, but we're not going to necessarily get into that. Actually, no, we have time. We are definitely going to get into that. I believe that the Groza is not as good as it once was, and I'm stating that right now, chat. You can fight me on it. I've used it multiple times. I still believe for some reason the AK or the barrel can easily outgun the Groza as a 7 weapon.
Looks like he's picked it up. He's gone for it, swapping the AK for it. Do you know what? Like, I've always been a 5.5, so I've always preferred the Auger of the Groza. I know it doesn't hit as hard, but there's just something really sexy about when it just lays into people with the Aug. VG now rotating in on the south side. No problems had with them. Redborn a little bit of a split. AV holding out, fam.
You might want to read Discord. We're gonna try and get back in it.
Yeah, typical. So I'll take over comms as Doc's got an OG. 614 is rotating straight past. You guys can bounce over to YouTube for 2 minutes to catch the viewing. GT rotating straight in between WC and ATR there. ATR red with some bigger shots on GT. He's now down to a 1. I'm pushing down, but able to get away. Oh no, ATR brace picking him up. Commentator's cursed. Oh, and he got run over by his own boy. I don't know whether that was just to take the point away. I'm not sure if that counts. But GT are making their way up to Zoo. Zoo have a roadblock set up for these guys, and there is only one way GT can move up. So their car's been nice and slow. This could be the end. GT now losing another 1. There's third. Oh, nearly getting the run over. Kizza though. Kizza's the only person to get through. He's coming down to the last player of Zoo. Oh, he's lucky enough he's turned away. GT going down to a 1-man. Looks like Rebel Row though getting the steal. Good to see him up. Zone has bounced high to a little bit north. AFX on the west side. Now we're seeing obviously Kizza's come down close. He's going to try and find something to go. There is still a lot of compounds and real estate to be had as Miramar is a bigger map. ATR blue, north side, no one really contention them. GWG still sitting in Los Leones. We've seen ZR pull away from Los Leones, and the zone has bounced back towards, so it's going out towards this northeast. We're now seeing, oh my god, GTS and Pickle and Co are fighting heavy out in blue in phase 3 at the moment. Looks like they are backing away. Yeah, GWG blessed with zone. Mate still sitting good. ZR still sitting good. ZR, I think, now need to decide from an IGL. They need to tighten up. They've got a 2-1-1 split and holding really big compounds as well. I think these guys need to go, actually, let's commit. Maybe let's commit to where Puppy is sitting and tighten up in the middle. Otherwise, they're going to get crashed. And I think I might have spoken too soon. We're seeing ATR now crashing in. We're seeing a 4-on-1. Oh, and Polly getting dropped. Nearly getting dropped, getting the drop on there and jumping out of the car and clearing his guy. ATR taking up one of ZR. ZR have tightened up now as a free man. They should have done that a couple of minutes ago. As our still pushing in north side, we're now seeing ESP taking big hits from VE. VE trying to take a chunk out and rotating early. WC also doing the same. We've seen a lot more teams on this sort of south side here. AFX now have to rotate. They're going to have to rotate right past Rebel. Rebel not getting the shots on quick enough. And these guys are split up here. Now we're starting to see connected shots in the last car down to a one shot. Unable to get the finish. Could stop in a dip and get a med on. He's not. He's still driving. Still up for grabs. And Rebel Rowe picking him up again. Rowe, I spoke to him about it the other week. Absolute storming at the moment. AFX losing one on that rotation. BCS still fighting. Pickle and Co in the blue here. Taking one.
I'm still looking.
Taking two. You on the OG Xbox?
Nope, I'm on the Series X, bro.
Jeez. There you go. Not always just in the tin. BE have crashed into ATR. Knocked one. He picked up another. He's actually not gone for the first. He's actually backed away for the med.
Let's try recrashing my game.
Got back. He's got his back to ATR, surely. Oh, GWG have picked him up. VE out in 50th place. GWG now having to push it away from Los Leones. Now taking the fight on here. Polly has now gone down. And Vitty's on that aggressive push down the middle here. Molly in there just to really stop him popping out. Not a bad Molly. He's actually gone into the building. He's actually picked up Polly. Polly should go out to that Molly there. That's the tap. Big rotation on the right hand side. He's able to get some nades in. He's still sitting in the middle. ATR all in the goddy now. Free man trying to defend a small place. Rebel and AFX still going at it back to back. And we're seeing so many teams coming in on this sort of southeast side. BWG need to finish this fight quick because they've got ZR and WC potentially coming in on them. ATR just holding out as quick as they can. And Antipop's taking the high ground. McVitie's trying to find the door. Looks like ZR and WC. So we're seeing a fight out of zone here. Got one. They've got two. ATR holding off hard here at the moment.
We are
Losing two. Losing three. Jumped out in exactly the same place. McVitie just tearing it up. GWG able to be able to get the reses on now. ZR potentially now pushing over aggressively. They're going to have to try and get the res on GWG quick here. All seen this fight.
I have no absolute clue what the hell just happened, but it looks like GWG managed to get their self back to a full four-man as Puppy Escobar actually looks like he's going to start getting ready to rotate right on top of this as well.
These guys are sniffing it. They've had to push in ZR. GWG obviously coming in on the third party. V got caught out trying to rotate here as well. Puppy needs to get these shots on quick here.
Oh, he's definitely shot with just a couple bit. It looks like Spree is going to take down McVitie relatively quick. Team 9 actually getting taken down as Cal's going to be able to die to the blue in team 12th
Puppy
place.
is in such a great location. Just needs to get the knock. Who's all pushed down. GWG losing one. Puppy Escobar going right in the middle here. Puppy's been shot in the back. He didn't check off the left-hand side there. He's gone down. Bit of a mental mistake there from Puppy.
Vampsy going to get the nice knock onto Dill. He's also going to get the knock onto Anto.
That is pushing in.
Rat going to get the knock over onto him.
Oh,
and that looks like Rat's going to get shot in the back. And there you have it, ladies and gents. You have ZR going to be managed to at least get back up to a full 3-man.
That is some back-to-back action in the one building as well. Have a look at the wider action. GTS is still in the blue. They've been in the blue most of the time. Split's the only guy that's made it into zone. AFX losing towards Rebel. Now down to a 1, but Rebel have been out. 2 rotating around on this west-hand side. VG still holding up, but quite split. Mate still sitting nice and tidy. We've got GTS. ATR Blue still sitting great north side. GT Kizza, he's been a one-man for a while now, but he's actually rotated quite some distance to get to that location.
Bibbuck looks like he's going to try and actually get a little bit aggressive over onto Zoo as he's going to get ready to start peeking some different angles. Bibbuck has the information, just waiting. Going to probably take down Boost. As Blues gets taken down, he's also brought down to about 58% of his health. He's going to try and bandage up. He might actually wait for the rest of the VG boys, but it looks like the Zoo boys are going to get that insta-res almost.
They've not stuck it yet.
No, they haven't stuck it yet. They have to act a little quicker than that.
Needs to factor in that going to bounce, but I think it's not too bad. Good flash there.
Philic unfortunately can't push over where Bibok is, as AF Qme is pushing onto Philic. As Bibok trying to come in for some kind of support, but just whipping every single shot until that shot.
At the one classic shot though, Bibok's done the right thing. He's pulled back in the team, so he's able to get the res in, but VG are in a better position now for the further game. They've got that ridge they can play, just coming out the compound where towards Major Grief, and they'll be able to take the hillside. Zoo have only got to be able to play northwest and then try and come in on this west side.
Absolutely. As Kiz is actually on the outside looking in, he has to try and make his way towards zone as well. Can he do exactly what Azza was able to do last game and sneak his way towards the second place as the mates look to try and at least control this, and they might be going for the win rather than the kills at this point.
Yeah, it's better play. It's good play for VG. It shows a bit of team discipline, that.
Absolutely. As Pepe looks to try and actually gatekeep Philic at this point, he's going to be holding on to this ridge. He's actually crawling and sneaking his way up. He knows where Philic is. Philic hasn't seen him. But Split's going to knock down Pepe. Pepe is also going to drop a nade on himself. Absolutely saved Philic. It looks like Philic might need to buy Splits a beer after that or something for just saving his life. That was absolutely insane.
Splits is a one-man, so he took a big gamble doing that. Now, if you look at the teams around, everyone knows where he's sitting. You have to move off his next round, but he's
it looks like Nate is actually going to go out to zone as the rest of the WC boys managed to make their way in as well, as Spree was trying to gatekeep that, as Major Gurf looks like he's going to push up right out to Splits as well.
Oh, he didn't flash, that's why he's not shooting. Oh, he's got a free AUG. It's deserving that AUG there.
Was that an AUG or a Groza?
Groza. My bad. I'm still thinking about the AUG, mate.
It doesn't even matter, because Splits has just gotten blessed with everything at that point. He knows that he can't really move from there, but he could even try and run out the back relatively quick and grab all of that gear like you were saying. Moose, you're going to knock down Beater, as Beater's taken down, and I don't think that Koyomi-kun might be actually able to get the res on this.
Issue is waiting for it.
Philic going to get taken down by Zoo, as now Bibok, the only one up for VG at this point. Kizza still sneaking his way into zone right behind ATR. As ATR Townie looks like he's going to get ready into a fight with the rest of the ZR boys. It looks like mates are going to be taking down both Fable and him, and the Kizza is going to go out in 9th as Townie finds him out.
ATR should be able to try and get the res, but they're getting taken by mates. All this is mates' game to lose now. Look at the placement of where mates are. They've got the control. Depends on this next shift, actually.
It looks like Tactical is going to be the one to take down Fables, as Fable is going to be bleeding out, and I think it's all up to Townie, if I'm not correct. If I'm not mistaken, excuse me.
Doc is dying. So ESP managed to get the res there. They're now back to a 2-man. GTS still sitting as a 1. VG, unfortunately, is now a 1, but Zoo is capitalizing. VG should have pushed over that way, but they went for GTS. They now lost access. Now they're down to a 1-man. I think they're going to struggle to get out from this one. Zone has.
Can we talk about how Splits is actually still in the circle as well, and he has some decent cover. Well, he doesn't have decent cover, but he still has a little bit of a shack to play with. Exactly.
He's got cover. Take it. Zoo are pushing down towards him though.
Yeah, Zoo have absolutely no clue where Bibok actually is, and Bibok might be able to use a third party to finish where he started, but if he starts to actually shoot over onto them, taking down DP6, he has to try and put a quick first aid on maybe. He's going to fight this instead, and unfortunately, Bloost is going to get his revenge, and he's going to take down Bibok, as they're going to get back up to a full 3-man.
Got to do the res, no problem there. Lost his lid though. He's just split store, unaware there is a Groza sitting outside his window.
He still I don't think he even wants the Groza at this point. I don't think he cares about the gear. The last thing on his mind is gear. He's just trying to survive.
That's his right. There wasn't a shot at him either, so he doesn't know. He has no idea what that player had. He just knows keep tucked in here. He knows he's got ESP above him, right? A team above him.
If he starts to peek this, though, he might actually catch Weaver in the open as he starts to actually look onto it. And his GTS splits might try and take him down. Weaver brought down to an absolute one-shot.
Looks like
Weaver getting taken down from extremely far, too. Splits has to try and get this guy in the open. Weaver going to get taken down by Splits. And Splits is also going to manage to get the thirst onto that as well. He is stunned, but he also managed to smoke at least so he can see, or they can't see where he's moving. He's going to jump out the backside of this.
Oh, unlucky there.
And
Great
loose.
movement, though. GTS getting tucked out there. 7th place, getting the point pot, though.
Exactly. And Beater is actually going to be up there still at Team 10 are still going to be at a solid 5 kills and at least a minimum of a 6th place. It looks like Puppy Escobar manages to get the res, I believe that is,
EP6
onto Vamsy.
Needs to get a lid. Even if it's half tank,
100%.
mate. You look, because you're looking at the box now going, whoa, there's a grocer in there, mate. Level 3
he's like,
lid.
thanks. Yep.
He's picked up.
He's like, I'll
take that.
gladly take that. Drop all my 5s and take everything that he can right now. As Zone actually shifts over onto the AV and WC combo, and the mates actually have to start getting ready to move as Townie's also might going to be a thorn in their side.
Yeah, Tony's going to give these teams major issues, but mates look at this. They know they've got to push forward. The only downside, or the only other upside they've got is they've got 2 cars. They could push to another location. I just don't think it's the right play. I think they've got to take the fight and they've got to go forward.
Honestly, even if they try and push over towards a different location, they're not going to have much room to really work with. Maybe they'll have a couple tractors in the field to potentially work with, but other than that, there's not really much to kind of go off of. There's no real hard cover. There's no shacks. There's no anything in that field to the right of them.
That's because losing this lid. Looks like ZR's come up on the other side. This is when the mates now need to roll.
Exactly. Vamsy taking down Lucian. Instead, they're actually going to get ready to start third partying all of this.
Mates are now pushing through. Townie's going to cause the problem here.
Townie might actually just stay a little silent as he's just holding. Just slowly moving, might even eat a little tad bit of blue.
Surely.
They still haven't seen Townie.
No way. He's got the yellow tracksuit on, man. Looks like sand.
Just get the molly in there.
Got one. He's got a molly.
You've got to thirst it. You've got to thirst it.
Got a second.
Oh, he's going to get 2.
Now he needs to go for the molly or a med. There goes the molly. He
He's
might
going
pick
to
up
get the
3.
flush out onto him, and Demshik is going to manage to get the thirst over onto Grab. At least Oki is going to get picked up. Tacticals looks like he was going to handle Vamsy himself, and it's all up to Puppy Escobar to try and hold off the rest of the mates. Zoo getting taken down as well from Team 10 as they managed to push down on top of that.
So we're seeing ESP, ZR with Puppy, and then obviously the mates now back up to a 3. Losing 1, but Townie, what a play from Townie there.
Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And here we go. The mates still controlling the most of this circle. Well, not most of the circle, excuse me. The most of their numbers is they're 3 up compared to the other 2 and 1. Puppy Escobar, man, trying to sneak it, trying to sound whore just a tad bit. Managed to get some shots over from Tacticals. Not going to be able to get the flush out onto him as Tactical is going to be a one-shot, but going to manage to get healed up as Team 10 are still inside of the zone. They've been playing this edge this entire time, but they're still edge zone.
They don't need to move yet. They're going to sit firm. They should really be up on their feet now because mates have to push in. So they're going to be able to see them better than what they can return. But they're just sitting tight here. Mates are just holding out. They're just allowing the mates come in.
The only thing probably holding Team 10 back is the fact that they're low on ammo. If you really look at it, Beater has his 20 over 11 on his SLR and 40 over 44 on his M4. And Koyomi, I believe he's only using 1 gun at this point because he's lost all ammo.
Good flash.
They have to pick their shots.
Oh, he's down. Got a handful of rounds here. You're all right. They are both in rags.
Koyomi doesn't even have a helmet at this point. He's trying to get a quick first aid on. He's going to try and nade this. Cooks the nade just just a tad bit, trying to get some kind of cover for himself.
Picking the mate.
But it looks like
Double
Demshik
team.
gonna clip right over onto it, and then Demshik gonna get the 2-piece as Team 10 goes out, and the mates coming back strong after the first game of coming out, and I believe it was 14th place.
Yeah, it's a better game from the mates. As I said, we said quite early on there that I think it's the mates' game to lose from the position they had. They played it well. The ATR Tiny done absolute bits there, but yeah, mates doing their bits, clearing it up. They needed that game there for game 2 going into game 3. Taking first place. ESP though able to get through to second, but holding out, but just randomly running out of ammo. But they got a couple of knocks and able to stick the rest in. Well done for them. ZR doing well to get to third. Obviously Poppy at the end there, but Vampsy with a 5-pack. 2 in fourth, and ATR Townie doing bits at the end there. GG's picking in a 5th place. Let's have a quick look at the action replay. Obviously this is a 2-on-3 situation, but ESP got no lids. They're in rags and they have a handful of ammo between them. I would have preferred the guys to be them on the feet for a little bit longer, but really they are just trying to stay alive. I don't think they understand what the leaderboard and the times were. But look at this, mates now rolling in. Steamroll 1, bam bam, thank you ma'am. There's 2, winner chicken dinner. Mates picking up 8 kills and getting the dub. Right, round 3 coming up. Erangel. Catch you guys in a second.
I'm coming up just a little bit. Never want to quit. I'm feeling it the way it hits. It's elevated. Vision is blurry. Feel it and dizzy.
it's late, make my mistakes, and somehow I don't feel them, but it's bound to hit me later tonight. I wanna say you're everything I wanted for a while and for the rest of time. I don't wanna fight for you, I just wanna talk, and I don't wanna spin around. I'm scared to call you, can't calm you down. No, better than nobody else. It's hopeless, confiding your love kills me every time. Stupid, addicted to you. I'm stupid, addicted to you. Oh, can't get enough of you. Can't get enough of you. The pain is still the same. I tell you I don't feel it, but I've never been a liar. I'm a page that you can read. You're everything I wanted for a while and for the rest of time. I don't wanna fight for you, I just wanna talk, and I don't wanna spin around. I'm scared to call you, can't calm you down. Know me better than nobody else. It's hopeless, confiding your love kills me every time. Stupid, addicted to you. I just can't get enough of you. Baby, can't get enough of you. Know me better than nobody else. It's hopeless, confiding your love kills me every time. Stupid, addicted to you. Just can't get enough of you.
You sub.
Okay. Oh, mate, round number 3. Look at that flight path. We've got a very, very southeast going through to a west, but the zone is literally Millie all day long, with a very peer Primorsk, and we're going to see a fight for the Gatka at the end. I think, as we said on the first round, I think Gatka's going to be hot, but Chinky, we might see a contention there. Very peer, normally GWG we hit, so I expect those boys to go there. Primorsk, maybe a team, definitely one, maybe 2 teams in military. Novo, we're going to see an early jumps for Milton Power, VE, and GTS. But the big question is what other teams are going that way. Plus, we've got S Road, ATR though, their drop's not in, so it'd be interesting to see where they decide to land on this one. But we'll come into round number 3. Don't know what your thoughts are with the standings at the moment. Where do you think people will be hitting this one, Doc?
Well, as you were saying, so this is actually going to eliminate a lot, right? If you really think about it, a lot of teams went Yaz, I believe. A lot of teams even went towards that Gak, which they still potentially can do. We also had that school drop that ATR loves with nobody taking Razak. But the problem with this is because this is such a southern plane flight, teams might even question themselves. And like you were saying, it might even be a military-based zone, which might favor GT. Because GT landed at military base and controlled that even coming out of it for that first game that we saw. So that might cause some problems for GT. We're going to see maybe a team that tries to transition over towards Novo, as that was uncontested as well last game. It was a little bit farther of a drop, but we are going to start to see some secondary drops coming out of from a lot of those northern teams. We're going to see, like you said, VE going back towards their Milta power drop. It looks like, I believe it was GTS that are probably and are still going to take Milta. What I want to actually see is where AF decide to go. They landed over onto school and apartments where ATR were originally, but are they going to try and change it up towards a secondary drop? As they didn't have too bad of a second outing that last game. They didn't have the best of outings, but they actually managed to try and make it past at least I believe it was phase 1. So with that being said, that's still an improvement from game number 1.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. We've seen the early drops now. These guys going now. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be so hard to see what these teams decide to do for this. GT, it's their home ground, that area, right? So they might be able to fight this one out and try and hold it. But look, no one got. I'm so surprised. So surprised that the
contested
team
them.
went there for him, especially with this style drop. I think Zoo are now coming back for it though. GWG going for that ferry pit, but everyone out of the plane early doors. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams all in one area, and then late playing as well. Look at Expired, VG, Rebel, and ESP rocking out, and Pickle and Co. Can't forget Boy sitting in the middle, going out for that West. No one in the middle, mates, uncontended Pachinki. I'm so shocked with that one.
Fenton knocking down AF Qme extremely fast with an M24. Because he's going to punch him out. That's disrespectful.
I am surprised at this drop. I knew people were going to be dropping early, right? I knew we was going to see that. I knew we was going to see the late, but I'm so surprised we didn't get a more middle S road along that new ferry pier. Going up to the older V to drop. No one contended for Pachinki. That was a big one for them. ATR obviously went for the long jump there, uncontended. Zone isn't Millie, and it is going to do them favors. But a lot of these teams now on this east side are going to get bottlenecked trying to rotate into zone.
I was just actually about to say that. I believe that Rat, and I'm pretty sure GWG, if they have any kind of awareness, would have seen maybe Zoo, or even they would understand that GT like to land over towards military base, might even decide to try and bridge camp just for a couple extra points, knowing the fact that they are in zone. GT have going to get creative at this point, as Zoo also might be the first ones to gatekeep them instead of GWG at this point. ATR being smart, also going towards Nova, but they might also have to rotate. Now they still might have a boat. They're still going to have that ferry pier that comes their way every now and then, so they can potentially still take that. But the ones that are still getting blessed by the zone are the mates, still continuing to get centered zone, even in the first circle. I'm not sure what their strategy is because sometimes even as a team, you might have that first circle be blessing you, but that second shift is always detrimental to a team that's centered up in the first zone.
Yeah, you're right. They've either got a magnet on one or the other, but they're in a great position. The zone for me is going to shift a couple of ways. Now, I could be wrong, don't get me wrong, but if I was in IGL sitting on this zone, it's either going to shift north, northeast, or northwest, right? So mates sit where they are. They're going to put themselves in a good position that they could shift down if they need to, or off to the west, really knowing there isn't going to be many teams north side of them, okay? They would have seen ATR with that long drop, and they would have seen them when they were landing for Pachinki, so they're aware there's a team north of them, but I think mates are sitting in a great position. GWG, yes, looking at the map, these guys should be getting on the bridge camp early doors. I haven't seen it from GWG, whether it's a lack of aggression from them, which we know we see in the end zones, but the early zone with GWG, these guys don't really do that sort of play. We're going to see these guys push more into centralized zone. I think a lot of teams are going to try and push for like south chopsticks, that hillside in and around. I don't see GWG, despite that's what they should be doing, controlling that bridge out. I don't think they're currently thinking about that. I don't think they would have paused and gone, actually, hold on, guys, look at the flight path. There could be more than one team onto that military island, and they've got to come over. Let's try and camp them out. I might be wrong, but I think they're going to play for centralized zone.
I agree. It looks like Deal is actually already on the move towards that centralized zone. They know that they need a win under their belt as of right now. So they might try to get, like you said, into those positions relatively early. Deal actually stopping over where Rebel Dread is at. So there might be a little bit of conflict over on that area. But as far as rotating through, I believe they're going to have at least the least bit of problems as everybody went towards that western part that we were speaking about. If you look over at Team 10 holding that edge of the map, and then you have Team 9 kind of hanging around Quarry, and Team 5 doing a little bit of split above Quarry. Team 16 also kind of being blessed by the zone as they have their pick of compounds as they landed in Gaka. They have kind of those centralized compounds right next to Pachinki that are really good to hold, especially if it lands right on top of there, which normally, I'm not going to say, I wouldn't even say normally, but about like maybe 40% of the time we do see those zones kind of land inside of these fields.
Yeah, and it could even shift up to Everest. While we're waiting for the teams to rotate, let's quickly get the leaderboard up, as it has just updated. So we're currently seeing WC still sitting in first place. They are being chased though. They're only on 26 points. ESP now in second with 23. Mates, big game for them. Pushes them straight up to third place with 20 points. There's only 6 points between them and first place. ZRR in fourth. Good game from them in the last round. Zoo in fifth. ATR Red in sixth. And ATR Blue are in seventh. Both of those teams are sitting on 12 points, but Red tucking in more kills at the moment than ATR Blue. GWG, though, crawling on to 8th place, but they've only got 11 points. There is still up for grabs. GWG, as you said, have a good game here. It could put them in a good position to go into round number 4.
Absolutely. And the ones that are actually kind of lacking a little bit inside of that even a mediocre game, you would say, they didn't get placement points, nor did they get their same amount of kills. Actually left them, and I believe that's 9th place. And so hopefully they try and capitalize on the rest of the Aaron Gill matches to try and make up for some of those points. They're not necessarily out of competition, as they're only down 15 out of 1st place. And as we've seen crazier things happen, I've seen almost to points of 30-point comebacks in almost the game. As long as they try and slay out or try and stay consistent, I believe they should be relatively good. But this is not a good start, as I believe Ghosted is going to get taken down really early by the rest of the ATR boys, and Ghost is going to get thirsted out. Very unfortunate for her.
The GT playing the smart play and expecting there to be a team camping out that bridge. Little to know when they come back and look at this replay that it wouldn't have been. And they've rotated for the other bridge where all of the teams are sitting. ATR doing some great shots there. Ghosted being tugged out there by Hayes. And we're seeing JJ now in a big rotation over. Aggressive play for him.
With a great nade onto Embraces. That's going to bring us an even point of 3 versus 3. But it might not even be that way, because GT's kind of grouped together, whereas ATR is really spread out.
Yeah, JJ made a big play over here. Oh, that's not great for them. Great.
Desto with the incredible knocks, and Polly just trying to hold some kind of angle, maybe even try and re-peek.
I think ATR should be looking at this.
ATR Polly should just get out of here as fast as he can, but unfortunately he's too deep inside of it. He's into a fight with Kizza, as he's actually going to knock Kizza, but then Desto's going to come up with some follow shots and be able to try and knock him just potatoes just a tad bit. Polly brought down to almost a 1 shot, but so is Desto, and Desto's going to get tagged up by Hazy in the back with that M16.
Game changer. He had to get there. He done it.
And it's all up to Jetsy at this point. And Jetsy can't take down Polly, and there you have it, ladies and gents. And we actually see an early crash onto GWG as Anto Pop and McVitie actually take down 2 of Team 11, but unfortunately they also get taken down as well, as the rest of the GWG boys try and fight this, trying to control some kind of compound, but it doesn't look like it's going in their favor of doing that 2-2 split.
Yes, ZR is losing the 2, GWG obviously losing it as well. Ratatat and Handel coming in now tight. I don't know if it's the right play. I know it's a 2-on-2, but you've got to think about positioning, and you've got it all to play for. Both these teams here are fully committed to this compound, so expect them to stay, but I think GWG should be backing out this one.
Absolutely, and it looks like Dill's actually going to be right on top. He has a great angle of peeking through this window. At least he has to be kind of careful. Rat a little bit more in the open.
He's he threw a flashbang in, so Spree knows he's there. He's just waiting for him to peek his way in.
Absolutely, and Spree might not even know that exact angle, but he might know of that he just threw at least some kind of a stun in there. As Spree brought down to a 1-shot, and Dill and goes for the repeat. He managed to get the headshot onto him.
Look at that steal from Tickle.
As Tickle
what
from
an
all
angle.
the way up the hill with the dirty sneaky angle manages to take down a kill from GWG, as they're not benefiting from this at all.
GWG needs to back away from this. We're going to see WC roll down on them.
WC are going to just clean push down onto this, and it's not going to be worth it for almost anybody in GWG, as they actually get centered zone as well. Very unfortunate for them. It looks like ATR also going to be kind of hanging around in the back, and it looks like the mate's going to knock down Fenton, but it's going to get taken out by, I believe that's Nefest on Zoo.
Yeah, I kind of wanting GWG to back away from this here. I think WC are just waiting for this next zone, or maybe the next knock and then pushing down. Great angles there. Rest of that clearing up.
Well, I have no idea how Rat managed to even find that guy, but GG to Rat having some great, incredible game awareness. So he's going to start popping some tires so WC can make sure, or that he makes sure that WC is not rolling down. And it looks like Tickle and them are actually getting pushed up upon by BG, as we saw this fight a little earlier on, as they get cleaned up.
They got cleaned. Jeez, I didn't even get there in time. Wow.
Absolutely demolished them, and the only one that even got potentially touched was
Tickle, who they crashed up on.
Tickle or Mushu. GTS also going to be sharing a compound with, I believe that's the other ZR boys in Dynamics, Riders Wixie, and Riot Cal. That might be more of a free agent team than a ZR team, but for the most part, it looks like they are going to be getting some shots back over onto this.
Yeah, Team 9 is Pickle and Co. It is our free agent, consistent free agent, the same team. Just put a label on it, guys, and give me a logo. Because you guys are always playing the same. But yeah, always Pickle and Co. ETS in the opposite side.
Pickle's not even on the team. He still got credit of this. This is great. That is hysterical. And it looks like Expired also doing a little bit more of a sneaky strat as they realize where this last zone went, kind of in that field. And as it trying to lead his way through, potentially might even try and take the first place as they are going to be a full 4-man up coming into this.
The $1 million question is now, especially as an IGL, you're sitting there looking at this going, right, Zone 1 did this, right? And it's exactly the same placement, give or take. And then it bounced to that west side and tightened down, back down south after. And exactly the same zone placements, give or take. The zone is a little bit more to the right hand side towards the east, but looking at this, it really looks like around number 1 here. So a lot of teams, as you said, have tightened their way into this area, and we're seeing that Pickle & Co has got the knock on splits. It's quite a big chunk for them to push off, so I don't think they will play across that.
No, I don't think so either. He's pretty much in a safe position. He might have just overpeaked for the moment, but at least that TS14 is going to get that quick res, and so that's going to stop him from potentially pushing anything. As WC looks to try and actually get some kind of angles to look over back down onto all of this fighting happening as they're back up to a full 4-man as well.
It's just, God, that you're going to be second guessing whether it's going to be landing there. I think we see Rebel and ATR, ATR Blue, should I say, the team number 12. They're holding up the top of the hills. I think mates are also in that position. As I said, they came away from Pachinki. They can bounce away from Pachinki quite well.
I agree.
I think these guys are waiting for it to shift heavy and not follow zone 1. But zone is coming in. We've got 19 seconds before it hits, and we're going to see if it does tighten up anywhere near to this compound we're looking at the moment. I think we're going to see some big shift here from the teams expecting it to come in here.
It doesn't even look, and if you actually look at where ATR rotated, it looks like Embrace kind of aware of that bridge camp that's happening, and he's just going to try and swim his way towards the other side of the island. And there you have it, ladies and gents, kind of going in almost the same fashion that it did the last time, centered up around that
north.
field.
Surely it's going to go north for this one. Surely.
Hopefully.
PWG be wanting it, put it that way.
GWG are absolutely.
The good thing for
Center compound is not always one of the best compounds. It's a great compound to try and play late game, but it's not always the best compound for getting the maximum amount of points, as you do lose out on a lot of different kills for that.
100%. And look, for me, looking at this zone here, I think WC, this is their game to lose. They're in a great position. They're controlling the teams out. They've had ESP pushing on the south side. They've got Pickle & Co and GTS all in eyesight. What they need to ensure is they don't get tunnel vision onto this sort of narrow side on the south, and they are aware that other teams like Team 16 might come in behind them. As long as they keep checking that one out and they pick up Team 16, I think WC are in a great position. GWG obviously going to be grateful that they've got the zone.
My biggest concern is I believe the mates are probably going to crash over onto GWG. They look like they're beelining it at least for over towards that compound as they try and turn off a little bit. As ATR Buzz and Townie look like they might actually try and shoot a little bit at the mates. AF actually might be the ones to crash onto that compound, as the mates trying to just hold onto this hill.
Yeah, I think AF is going to push that compound.
Townie and Buzz try and get a little bit more info, and they might even get a little aggressive here. Townie knocking down tacticals. Townie gonna manage to actually try to take down in the back. Is Dempshit gonna get the last bullet just beforehand?
Townie's down.
Tacticals.
Look at that. Down to a one-shot Dempshit. Gravity's ATR are doing bits here to control this one out. If JB can get to Townie quick, he'll be able to get the res on him, and they'll be able to hold this north side, controlling the mates up.
With the 400-meter shot, stealing over onto Oki as well. Bernie getting taken out by Hazy and flushed out immediately as well. And I believe that it looks like you were saying, Townie's going to be able to get res, and they're going to be able to at least get a full 4-man versus 2-man onto the shack.
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
The only thing that can help the mates out the second is Zoo might be able to take some punch shots at him, but if I was Zoo, I'd be waiting for him to come out the shack. I'm not really focusing on ATR. ATR not going to be bothered with them. No, both of these teams just want to get the kill on the mates.
Absolutely. They're trying to at least flush them out, and the mates this is not what they need for a third game. They need to be a little bit more consistent as far as placement wise. As you've seen, they placed, I believe, like I said, 14th in the first game. They're going to place first in the second game, but then if they go out again, at least in 13th place with not that many kills, it's going to be devastating towards them and trying to at least get back into that lead.
Oh, he nearly put it through the middle of the tree there. Second is decent. Mate's in a bad spot here.
Merc is actually going to take down Lear as they're going to try and get that res up.
PWG now getting involved.
His way over onto Az. Az is actually brought down to a one-shot. As trying to get that heal, or excuse me, that res up before that heal. Demshik getting tagged out from GWG at this point, and now Demshik might actually get thirsted out by Dill.
It depends.
And
Yeah,
it's not
ATR
looking
should be
good
looking.
for
I was about to say,
Mace.
Townie should have read that kill feed. He's an experienced player. He would know that that's the guy in front of him. But look at that zone shift, northeast. As we said before, surely it wasn't going to land on that compound. We're going to see a lot of teams now push, but everyone is in this southwest corner with ATR also pushing around the southwest side. It's going to get really hectic now.
Absolutely, and ATR seems to be in one of the best positions, kind of holding on to that hill that oversees practically everything, being able to take shots over at everybody. The only way that you can even get a visual on ATR without them having cover is to be on almost the same hill or the same playing field as them, as Zoo looks to do that right now.
So Zoo put themselves in a position with a mate, so hopefully they don't make the same mistake. Again, let's just not forget ourselves. Look, Rebel still sit on the outside. This is what I said game one. Rebel like to sit on the outside and work their way in and just try and hold out. I think Rebel, after this zone, are going to get control out of whatever team is on the south side of them. They need to ensure that they get a foothold on the other side of the road. They will be so lucky if that zone bounces back to them. Next zone, I might be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like ESP is trying to run over expired.
Blizzard actually going to drive by Lear. Blizzard going to get taken down by Azza. They have to try and get that res on Lear almost immediately, as that's his second knock, otherwise he's going to be bleeding out. But Embrace kind of over peaking this as well and trying to get some third-party info on this. It looks like Cal trying to do the same rotation as well. Azza just going to let him pass by as he's going to try and put on a quick med. Just trying to play patient as Azza.
This is where Rebel need to stop these teams coming in front of them. They've got to get a foothold. They've got a nice little dip in front of them. They should be putting themselves in there.
Absolutely, it's almost like they're kind of playing scared in a way, though. They're looking over at crates. They're not even really shooting at anybody that's kind of down or trying to make their way to zone at this point. They're just taking shots over at Townie, who just got a fresh crate. That's almost about 400, 500 meters away. They should really be focusing on Team 10 collapsing on Team 9 and Team 8 going at it with Team 16 all inside this one little compound.
They could have such a good player from here. It just Rebel just need to be. They need to believe in their confidence that they can push. And I keep saying this every time I see these guys. And don't get me wrong, when they get to the end zones, right, and they do get kills. But this middle, I feel like this middle section here of these zones filling up, they don't put themselves in the best position. And it's either a 50-50 coin toss whether they're going to make it to the end zone.
Absolutely. Lowe's taking a couple points of damage as he brought down to about 65, but then at the same time bring Polly down to almost a one-shot as Polly's managed to get back to 75 as he takes a quick first aid as well. Nate Gravity, the last one for his team, kind of just hanging around as ATR managed to back away from this. Lowe's going to get taken down by Hazy, but Slim's right there to try and counter over onto Polly, as that's Polly's, I believe, second knock, if I'm not mistaken, as he took one earlier from, I believe it was Desto. Or it might be actually incorrect. That might be just his first.
No,
Hazy is just going to play for life. Suddy going to get taken down from Zoo as well.
This is what I'm talking about, right? So Rebel are still holding this compound. Lucky enough, they've got so this is what I'm talking about. It's a coin toss. The coin toss has gone their favor, but it could have easily gone the other way with them. They've still got the edge of zone. For me, they should be getting across at least the two-man and holding out the ridge in front. They've got multiple teams that are going to be running in from blue after taking a heavy fight as well. They'd be picking up a lot more kills. I don't even, what is their kill count at the moment? They're currently on 0.
100% agree. Even if you look over onto Team 10, they should be taking some shots as they finally start taking shots over onto Beater, at least putting a couple of bullets inside of him, but they should have.
They want to be forcing him in zone. Force him up and in zone.
Also has to make their way.
Yeah, they've got they're doing.
Zoo taking down Buzz as they're going to get a quick res onto that as well.
Homie's down. There we go. There's the first kill. Oh, no, it's been stolen.
No, Peaky got stolen. So now you're actually shooting, but now you're getting your kill stolen and unfortunately can't flush him. And now it's all up to just Beater as he's finally taken down by Rebel Row. And Rebel finally getting their first points on the board. And what we were saying earlier, it looks like Rat and them versus WC and Tickle, or excuse me, Mushu and Nath. They're just trying to hold at this point, fighting outside of zone. Paddle getting shot down by Ali and ran over by Rousler. Splits also gets taken down as well. And now VE in a prime position, but now they're starting to get pushed upon by ATR and getting pinched.
ETS in behind him as well.
WC saying we're going to risk everything at this point. It looks like Suddy and Rouse are going to get taken down by splits. As Kiki's going to get taken down by Dynamics. Merc brought down to an absolute one-shot as Rouse is going to be, or excuse me, Rat is going to be on top of the roof, having some crazy angles, taking down Merc. Gonna get the thirst out onto him as well. Mushu and Rat kind of in a little bit of a standoff. Nate is still in zone, has to try and make his way too, as this zone is gonna be chunking, as phase 5 is totally different hitting than a normal game. Rat in a 1v1 with Mushu at this point. Mushu kind of eating a little bit of blue and getting taken down by Rat, as now GWG continue as WC go out in a 9th.
Surely we're going to see team number 9 here. Picker and Co. Control that Rasta and GWG. There goes one. With a confirm.
It looks like Dill still not being spotted out by, I think that's Rydal at this point, as he might actually be spotted out, and he gets shot at by Wixie. Is going to manage to actually save him, as he got headshotted immediately and brought down to about 21% of his health. Townie crashing for some odd reason onto Zoo.
So Townie
trying to take a 1v4, I think.
So Townie was caught out there. He was north side of that compound, so he got caught out after getting that drop. Not knowingly, I believe he pulled the drop and he came back and he got caught by Zoo, unable to get back to the rest of his boys. He was doing bits from there. He was getting knocks and plays, but I think he only had the one option to go, and that was through Zoo.
Very, very unfortunate. And as we have 6 teams left, we still have ATR kind of holding a great zone for themselves. GTS, I believe, are still a one-man. Team 9 look to make their way in, and the passive Team 5 finally making their way into the next zone that finally shifted away from their compound. It's almost as if they were playing center compound for the most part, and all of their gear seems to be perfectly intact. They are, ironically, these guys are going to be the favorites simply for the fact they have all of their utility, they have all of their meds, they have all of their gear. They haven't really been taking these fights, and but the counter side to that is simply for the fact they haven't been taking these fights. They might be a little rusty coming into a couple of these fights, and Rhino gets found out by Cal, but it looks like Rebel, once again, staying passive, not really pushing up onto any kind of action. They're trying to control some kind of zone, but they're not doing a great job at it.
These guys are sitting in 13th place, and I love the Rebel guys, and I always back them, but there's a 50-50 coin toss, and you're rightly so. They are fully kitted, and the 50 coin toss is going their way in the sense they've got to the end zone, and we're now in the top 5. But it could have easily gone the other way depending on the zone placement. I just feel like a team of this experience should be now controlling it out a little bit better. They've only got potentially a couple of teams now to go pick up some kills. Even if they get a win, it's not a high kill game for them.
Absolutely agree, but now it looks
Good
like
night.
Rebel Ballsy is actually going to get a great nade onto Rotters, and as they finally look up to make some points, and Ballsy with 2 great nades onto Rotters, as you still have 3 up for Team 9 that can still defend this as they continue to try and move towards the right and south, but Zoo look like they're going to try and counteract where ATR are going to be at, and as we're in our final 4 at this point, that could be devastating to ATR. Zoo looks like they're trying to outflank them.
This is all now a game of chess. This is positioning in this end zone. Everyone knows this area. We all know where the dips are and where everyone can play out. Has Buzz lagged out? No, he's gone back. He's gone to the drop to go pick up a vest, leaving JB there to get absolutely destroyed.
In an ironic fashion, though, it could play out for Buzz as he has that entire northern part to really work with as Team 5 and Team 9 start to finally collapse on each other. Zoo Blues and Zoo Weaver are going to take down both Wixie and Cal. As Rebel might actually be able to steal some of these points, but they're, again, still kind of hesitating just a tad bit to shoot.
You got to remember the difference being when you're warmed up all game, you've been fighting and digging it out all game. Like, you're on fire. If you've been sitting in the compound, your reactions are not as quick as they need to be.
Absolutely agree, but Dynamics coming in and taking down both Blues and Weaver.
Good play for him. Again, this might flip because where Dynamics is might flip in Rebel's favor. Zoo getting tied up there. They've picked up 1 extra kill here, so that's 1 steal.
That is 1 steal. And unfortunately for Dynamics, DP6 is going to manage to take that, and they're going to still stay at least a 2-man. Continue to fight the passive Rebel as Buzz, still a 1-man, but continues to try and make his way through this. Zoo on 8 kills at this point.
Ballsy be the player. Ballsy and Rowe here should be the ones that are clearing up. And again, I expect these two to be more aggressive and having the rest of their team follow them. They're still playing the edge here. They're still waiting to come through. They know where the team is. They should be reading the kill feeds. Great shots there from Ballsy.
What's absolutely astounding to me is ATR are only on 2 kills. They only got the same 2 kills that they got off of the mates, I believe that it was.
Yeah, but
and so they haven't been doing much work early on.
But look how good that area and their placement is. There's one. Now we're starting seeing like the boys going to work. There's Road. Buzz is now putting himself in a position.
Taking down 1. Neefa's taking down 2. He's gonna go prone. Looks like he's gonna break a little bit of line of sight. Gonna try and pop a quick first aid.
I think he missed the first aid.
He just missed the first aid. And very unfortunate as he's going to go out and the Rebel boys are going to go back up to a full format. But ATR Buzz.
Look at this difference here. I think Buzz should be pushing in now. If he's been keeping an eye on the kill feed, he should know the positioning. He knows where the guys are, and he just needs to control these guys out of zone now.
100% agree. But the big problem, Dread goes down. Back down to zone as he's not going to be able to make it out of that, I believe. Rebel Row, I don't believe he's going to face the same fate. Nope, he's going to get picked up and he's going to go back at it. But Buzz has to be really careful as he actually doesn't have any meds. He only has 5 bandages left.
A new vest though. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Rosa as well.
And pick himself up a quick Rosa.
Rosa M4. He's going to go for it. Rebel are on the push here. Got him on the sides. Unlucky.
And Rebel Row coming in with a great headshot. And here you go, ladies and gents. We finally finish up, and we also have Rebel coming in first place, but paying a little passive, only getting 6 kills. Still a great placement game for them, but unfortunately the 6 kills is not going to be enough to at least squeak them by into maybe the top 5. But it looks like ATR, I believe that's Blue and Townie leading the way with the charge of 2 kills and a 2nd place. Very unfortunate. They should have been doing a lot more with that center zone hill. Zoo putting in the work and getting a 3rd place and an 8th as they were heavily rewarded. Dynamics and the other Z-Hour, Pickle and Co. coming in, I believe that's 9 kills and a 4th place. They've been also fighting for the majority of the game. And GTS getting a 5th place with 5 kills and a 5th place. Ratatat and their team of GWG losing 2 really early, but then managing to take out almost all of WC and their squad and getting, I believe that's 6 kills and a 7th place. AEF playing again once a little passive, getting 6th place, doing a little bit better in placement, and only unfortunately getting 1 kill to do that.
Right, so a quick look at the action replay at the end there. God, it's that coin flip we spoke about, and it worked for Rebel this time. Let's see where they jump up on their leaderboard, but Buzz obviously getting picked up here. I think at that point now he should have left it. He went back, and then he goes back for the M4 now. I think if he left that M4 down and just rolled the Grozer at the end, it could have been a bit different. They know where he is, so they just stack up as a free man here and hold the angles. He does well just to try and tuck one in, but it's just not enough really at the end there. That's game number 3. Round number 4 coming up. Let's have a quick break. I'll see you guys in a second.
Since that night, I realized I didn't want another lover, 'cause we had time, but I still just didn't want it to be over. I'm in, I could've kept going forever. I'm in, I really wanna see it together. I'm in, to be honest, I just never felt like it. Never felt like it. You got me to the phone, to the phone, waiting for you to call again. To the phone, ready for you, want you so bad. To the phone, waiting for you to call again. To the phone, ready for you. I'm waiting you to get here. You got the address, so you know how to get here. Ooh, yeah. We both know it felt real, so just take the damn wheel. Let's make all like Shakespeare. I'm in, I could've kept going forever. I'm in, I really wanna see it together. I'm in, to be honest, I just never felt like this. Never felt like this. You got me to the phone, to the phone, waiting for you to call again. To the phone, to the phone,
I know you're bad for me, but I can't help but wonder if we could really be happy and good.
What can happen? Can teams come back from deficits? Can teams put this win in the bag? Can the teams on top manage to hold off the teams on the bottom, ladies and gents? We have a lot of questions that will be answered very early and very soon in this game, ladies and gents.
Yeah, it's been a good evening so far. The playing, good evening for the host. The flight paths for the players have not been the best. Let's look. We've had two out of three so far with really shallow flight paths, forcing teams in situations and locations they wouldn't normally find themselves. Experienced players though, and they are looking for the cars and the rotations out. It's just what I would say is not the normal type of flight paths you see, which go across the middle and everyone's happy for the zones. Obviously the leaderboard at the moment on screen is just missing that last one. WC obviously with a slight lead. ESP and Mates up there. Mates not having the best of game at the end there. Rebel with the win, but they're quite low down. ATR Blue second, but not many kills. They're not really going to shoot too far up.
Here's the crazy thing, though. Sorry to cut you off, but the Mates are actually going to be in a still decent spot, especially after that outing of WC going out extremely early in that last game.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be very much in the situation because based upon their kills, they're going to be pushing themselves up. The question is, did ESP do enough to hold on, and did WC do enough on the kill front to keep up a lead, or if not a small lead? We're going to have to see coming into this fourth and final round.
110,000% agreed. As we, as the host, continue to give you guys content and screw over the players as we go from the western part of military base all the way to the southern part of Lapavka, eliminating all of any kind of Gaka strats, any kind of George Pool strats. You still have the Primorsk and still have the Quarry, but anything towards the northwestern part of the map is almost eliminated unless you want to take that extra time to try and rotate towards that. Otherwise, good luck dropping about 3,000 meters out. And as we continue to see, GT are definitely landing military base. Who's going to contest them over at Nova? Will it be ATR again, or I believe that was ATR Red taking it to them, as GT have a lot of work and a lot of ground to try and cover. Pachinki obviously being taken by over on the Mates. Is WC going to change up their strategy and maybe even do a little bit of a Vita, because Mushu's definitely on the team? They can do that snake road strat. You're going to have GTS and VE very comfortable in that Milta power scenario. WC actually might just stay over at Shelter. We're going to be seeing where it's going to go. They don't have to drop that far over towards Shelter in that prison area. The teams in Yaz are going to have a little bit harder of a problem. And again, both ATR teams might struggle to at least get towards school unless ATR Red decide to go over towards Novo. Zoo also having a very good outing that last game. They put up the amount of kills. They got the win. They have a couple of points to still try and make up, but they can potentially do that with this, as they did drop military base on that western part of the island early on in the game last game. So we're going to see what they continue to do with that strat. If that strat is working for them, can that strategy continue to carry them towards the end of the zone? And hopefully we have a Stallber zone, ladies and gents, bringing it to you for content for us, not for the players, because that's what we're all about as hosts.
100%. I was going to say there's going to be two plays here. There's the early jump, which we've just seen, I think 3, 4, maybe 5 teams going. I also am really looking at the end jump here. The VE, will they go to their normal drop, or will they push up high? I think they're lucky enough. They're going to be sitting in the plane long enough to see how many people go out. Yeah, this is a horrible flight path for these teams. We have had literally 4 out of 4 games here with not really one flight path. Maybe even if we look at it, maybe the first one was the best out of the bunch. but still,
Maybe.
it's just awful. And a lot of these teams jumping mid, going north. It's still quite a big split. Not many people are contended on the drop.
You might
I see
actually want
VG
to
and
look on
ATR.
that. Yeah, I was about to say that's going to be a huge battle as VG looked like to try and capitalize on something, as they haven't been having the best of tournaments, but they try and pick off ATR. That might open somewhat of a hole for, I believe, GT or any other team to try and move on top of them.
Looks like VG are going to take out the actual container sides here. ATR going to have to lay more in the buildings. VG are trying to push them out the buildings. Actually, it has worked. It's turned Polly and JJ back round. So VG pushing out ATR and holding out Novo for themselves. And there's that near enough style bar. We've got a heavy zone that has shot north with Voslik and Waterworld sort of being in the centralized area. It could go north of the water. It could stay south. What we do know is that we have a lot of teams which need to shift early.
And here's my thing. As a former IGL, and I used to be in the IGL of RMV NA League, or excuse me, RMV NA team, this would always confuse me. And you were always trying to play a little hesitant and wait for that second zone to pop, because it can still go towards that shooting range or Severny area, or it can bite you and still pull towards that Razak and kind of open field right next to where Ruins and School are. So it depends on what the IGLs are going to be taking, or are going to be taking in compound wise. Are you going to go north? Are you going to go towards that southern part, as that is split in half and everything in the middle is still considered to be watered? So we're going to find out guaranteed by maybe phase 3, phase 4 of where this zone is going to be centralizing.
This is the horrible zone. Like, I've never been good enough to be an IGL, let alone playing high level. I've managed to compete in some high level-ish for a console. But yeah, this is horrible. It could still shift heavy north. Like, mates sitting grey. If mates capitalise and loot and get off early, they should beat most of these teams over. I think we're going to see teams push for the Rozak area and hold. We may see a 2-2 split north and south and try and hold double real estate. Smart teams will be looking at bottlenecks and trying to pick up these cars on rotation, but we're seeing ZR and Expired already on the move. The first two teams now going.
The teams that I'm mainly focused on right now are definitely the Mates and WC. I want to see what the Mates do with this rotation. They have the entire western part of the map to really rotate through, as long as they loot up relatively early. WC still have most of Yaz that they could potentially work with. Same thing for ATR as well on the northeastern side of the zone, as Rouse are trying to get ready to rotate as well, but he's going to rotate right next to where AF are. He should be relatively clear, as he's going to start pulling away from that. Has to be a little careful towards those rotations, as he has 3 teams surrounding him. He's trying to pull some kind of a compound for himself. And once again, as an IGL, this circle is always confusing. You never really want to try and bank on it going north, or you never really want to try and bank on it going south. So what you try and do as an IGL is try and take somewhere in the middle. Try and maybe control a bridge. Try and control some side that you can get to both of the islands on. So when I say that, I mean try and maybe take that compound just outside of Yaz or the gas station area, or try and get towards George Pool and try and take maybe that cube area, so you have both spots to try and rotate back and forth through. Otherwise, you're going to be in a very bad predicament trying to get out of those if you have to try and rotate south and you're currently north, or if you're currently south and trying to go north. The biggest problem for this zone is definitely for GT, and once again, I'm focusing on them because they do go melee base a lot. They have to rotate and rotate fast, and they have to rotate efficiently to try and gather some kind of compound, as they're going to be maybe the last ones to try and get into the zone.
Okay, so while we're waiting for these teams to start shifting, let's have a quick look at the leaderboard before we start seeing the action unfold. So yeah, WC still holding up in 31 points in first place. Zoo jumping up to second now with 26 points. ESP in third. ATR Red shooting up to fourth. Mates though not doing quite enough, going down to fifth. But they are on the same points as ATR Red, sitting at 20 there. Rebel have also moved from 13th to 6th. A big jump for them. Big coin flip there. Taking up 6 points with 20 points and only 10 kills. If they managed to pick up more kills than that, they would have sit themselves potentially on a 4th/3rd. ATR Blue are in 7th, so no movement for them. And then GWG still in 8th.
Well, it looks like ATR are already on the move, as Buzz is going to pick up a quick 2-piece onto Peaky and Rydal as they get both found out. immediately, I believe, I don't know if it was off of a car or off of a bike, but Buzz manages to try and make something. I believe that's for ATR Blue at this point. And he's going to try and move their way up. And once again, these leads are not insurmountable. You have WC only leading the second place team by 5 points and leading the seventh place team, which is 5, 6, and 7, all tied for basically fifth place as they continue to have the same kills and the same totals by only 11 points. So there's not much of a difference that winner circle can be, or excuse me, there's not many errors that WC can really make in this game. Otherwise, it's going to open the door for a lot of teams to try and make up ground.
This round is going to be all about kills now. These teams being so close on the points, people need to get the kills. And let's look at Rebel. Rebel went from 13th place to 6th, right? If they would have got a couple more kills, they would have been in 3rd place, maybe like 3rd/4th. So they need to get the kills now on this one. Let's see if they play passive on the outside and work their way in, or try and get these third parties and go hell wherever just to try and get themselves up the leaderboard.
Absolutely agreed. And I believe Slim actually managed to grab a quick package for himself, as he looks like he has full 3 gear. It may or may not have been an AUG, as he's still rocking that scar. So he's just trying to get back as fast as he possibly can, as Tactical is going to take a few shots over onto Expired, and he's actually going to manage to get out of that situation with 7 health, still keeping some relatively decent gear. But he's going to have a scar and an MK at this point. And an MK can be devastating to so many different teams. Koyumi taking down, I believe that's TS14. Koyumi taking down Splits as he gets himself a 2-piece, but Desto coming in with a steal onto at least one of those kills.
And
2 of those kills gets taken out.
Wow. Talk about dropping the ball. Go to your secondary and at least get one of those kills out of the hard work you've done.
Absolutely insane. As you sit there, you drive by 2 people out of a car, and unfortunately yourself, you cannot pick up any single one of those. And what's interesting about this entire part right now, Mark, when I tell you there's not a single team towards the northern side of this zone, there is not one.
Let's look
if
at
this
well.
zone decides to shift north, every team is going to be scrambling for a compound.
All about who can get in their cars quick on this one. Look at this though, right? Pickle and Co, right? The guys still coming out on the western side. They're working their way up, but you're right. There's no one really, and interestingly, everyone's really centralized as well. We spoke about it quite early on. As an IGO, you look at these type of zones. You don't know if it's going north or south, so you stick yourself on the central. Give yourself a position that you can bounce away from. It looks like these teams are doing this. They're finding a compound, but I think what we're going to see is this zone's about to touch. We might see teams getting ready in their car to move quickly.
100% agreed, but it looks like, and it really looks like a lot of teams might even try and collapse on each other, as Nate is kind of just hanging around in this kind of dip by himself, as the rest of the WC boys once again hanging around those bridges, trying to control where they can go if they need to move towards that northern island or towards that southern island. And then you see also Expired kind of held up inside of their compounds, but also surrounded by Nate, the mates. You have Team 10 kind of on that hill right down below them, or excuse me, right to the right of them. You also have ATR. And like I said, Mark,
North, mate, we need to stop
like
talking.
I said, Mark, the teams are all going to be scrambling. The only team that I cannot see scrambling right now is maybe Riot, Cal, and Dynamics, as they have that entire western part to kind of play with. But for the most part, every team that stayed towards the southern part, including VG,
gone already, gone. No one else.
Gone.
ATR as well. ATR Blue doing their bits there on the move. Between the two, WC, ATR, big shout out. You guys on the quick shift. VE soon to follow. Surprised that AFX actually stopped their car. They could have been across the water way before everyone else. Looks like we're going to see ZR have to make a shift. VE should hold a 2-2 split now on this side. It's going to be an interesting play now to see these cars scramble.
GT also kind of on the rotation as well, doing a far right rotation, as they should be relatively good to try and rotate at least towards that northern part. And once again, nobody was in that northern part, so they should be good. WC trying to take the first compound that they see. Rebel and GWG right next to each other in this rotation. You might even see Dill try and stop and maybe even shoot at one of the Rebel boys if he wants those extra kind of points. Koyomi-kun getting taken down by Rat. And like I said, Rat getting taken down by Rebel, as here we go, ladies and gents. We have Team 1 versus Team 5 at this point. Rat getting taken out. McVitie and Antopop kind of one of the last ones up for their team, I believe.
NEM, bro.
Dill is still up.
Mate, they got absolutely turned on there. They weren't quick enough in the car. They had no one on that side. They were the closest team to that bridge, Rebel. They should have been the first there, and they should have been the one doing the damage. Now GWD sniffing out the kills. They're actually, look at that, even playing for the, they're actually playing for the next bridge here.
And you even have Cal kind of rotating next to the other Rebel boy as he's not going to try and get around and try and shoot this. As Expired are going to start getting into a quick fight with the mates as Los is going to get taken down, as I believe he's going to get quickly rezzed by Slim. As I believe Demshik is going to start getting ready to run back. Tactical still in zone, going to maybe even hold them out. But like I said, everybody in a crazy panic.
But look at this, GT playing really well. They've actually got themselves ahead of the other team here. ESP coming through, but GT have already got a roadblock, and they are waiting for these teams to come through. The ESP are just so focused on Ghosted here. Ghosted with the big comms. We're going to see it potentially Deathstone Kizza get the early shots on. These guys need to do some damage now.
Deathstone needs to get some of these shots. He's getting tagged up a little bit from the drive-by as well. But
not tagged that as much as I wanted him to.
Very much so, and it looks like Team 10 actually going to rotate right by Team 9 at this point, with McVitie losing Rat relatively early, rotating right into where Rebel is going to be at. If
Rebel
they can get one kind of knock at this point, McVitie going to keep it moving. He didn't manage to get some kind of a knock on him. Antopop actually going to get into a fight with Rebel Row by himself.
And
it looks like Antopop playing like it's Call of Duty, taking him down.
You know, I'm sorry, we are far too experienced now. You should know Antopop always will drop shot. Always will drop shot. You should know that, Kenny. You turned around. You should have seen the kill feed. Row got drop Antopop. Shoot at the guy's feet. You're going to get a headshot every single time. But GG's.
Fable actually getting taken down by Colty, and Colty actually going to get taken down by Buzz. As the ZR boys look like they actually kind of rotate onto this, and it looks like Buzz might get a tad bit aggressive at this point. Excuse me, might even get a little passive as he gets headshotted almost immediately. Lear getting taken down as the mates try and continue their work onto Expired.
This is what we said earlier. They need the kills. Teams need the kills. Mates in this situation would have rotated further away for zone now, but they are having to close this fight out. They've got 48 seconds to do it before they need to rotate.
The biggest problem with this is you also have to take the smart fights. It looks like Townie just kind of hanging around, not taking all of the shots just yet. If he peeks just a little bit more, he's going to find where Suddy's at. Oh, you have to see that. Easy kills. Townie going to take down Suddy as VE going to go down to 3 immediately, but then it looks like JB's also going to get crashed, and he's going to get taken down by the rest of the ATR boys. Oh, excuse me, the VE boys. JB plays for ATR.
Back and forth there. Slim nearly went down on Molly. He has managed to get the meds on. Loz and Slim are holding out. The mates go to clear this out. They've got 10 seconds left. At this point, they need to rotate away.
Absolutely. At this point, the mates have to leave Expired in the dust at this point. They can't afford to really do much of this. And it looks like the mates are going to be able to actually take down Slim. They're going to have to get a quick res. They have to immediately, as this zone is right next to them. And that's coming in really quick as phase 3 might chunk just a tad bit. Nothing too crazy as Los is going to go out and the mates are going to capitalize on it, but they have extremely far to go. Not many compounds left to try and even hold at this point.
And they've got to go for meds as well. They're struggling on meds.
Absolutely. And Brace going to manage to try and take somewhat of a crate break as he's going to grab himself an MK, some extra 7s to kind of go with it at this point. And once again, we see the MK also in play. Demshik, the first one gone. He's probably on a bike at this point. Excuse me, a buggy.
He needs to get out of here. Let's have a quick look at the Antopop replay because that was crazy.
That was absolutely insane.
Let's bring it up on the screen. There we go. Look at this. So with Antopop, obviously, actually, to be fair, with GT, obviously, they should have capitalized on this, but we see a lot of these drivers swap from the driver's seat to the passenger to get the shots on. Obviously, GWG rotating through Rebel. Rebel didn't capitalize here on that, but Antopop jumping out, drops one, Rose gone, and then look at this. He spins 180 and then lays down and clears the fight up. You should know Antopop is going to drop shot.
Absolutely. VE in a great position as long... excuse me. I don't think they're going to be in a great position as this water might even take away from them. It looks like WC trying to do a little bit of a 2-2 split. Mate Oki getting cleaned out of the car by Jarku. Tacticals might actually get the quick res on him. Might be able to get the push back onto that as well.
Gotta be careful here because he's the only one on this side of the water. The rest of the guys have got Overwatch, but the mates are sitting on a ridge line that will protect him from that. Embrace has the MK, so we know he can do some damage, but JJ is on his own. And look, the mates know he's here, so he needs to be careful. I think the back away from this fight will be better for him. Ollie is teaming up. and getting them.
Polly coming in to try and save him, and there you have it, ladies and gents. DVZ and the ESP boys kind of being in a centralized zone, as WC also kind of doing a 2-2 split and have a lot to really work with. Polly being a hell of a teammate, managing to try and sneak away as the mate's still on the outside, but they're still not letting Jarku get away with all of that.
So
As
cost
Hazy's
1-1.
actually going to take down Tacticals.
That's a cost for 1-1. You need to look at that and go, was that worth it?
The mate's trying to just get any points as they can and being reckless almost doing this as well. As Gravity looks like he's going to be able to get the res over onto Tacticals.
This is going to be 21 seconds. It's going to be a close one out for these boys.
He's going to be able to at least get the res, but it's going to be a different story of getting into your cars and rotating away from this as well. Especially if you have to rotate right into where VG, Zoo, and GTS and GT are. It's going to be a different story.
These boys need to get some pressure down on the rest of the ATR boys. They're not going to give up. They've got the res. They've got to allow the boys to get out there. But yeah, look at this zone placement. VG are going to put themselves in a great position. V in a standard position. ATR, a team 8 here. So our ATR red. They should just be able to rotate. They've got a bit of hillside. They're going to be okay. Zoo trying to get across here, but they're literally having to crash themselves into the petrol garage. VG have surrounded them. Allow them
Kids are trying to be that angle, and unfortunately gets taken down for the rest of GT as Ghosted trying to speed her way, trying to get some kind of kill. She second guesses that, and she just decides that she's going to get up out of there, and unfortunately that costs GT another player.
Mates trying to get across the bridge. Zoo put themselves in the petrol garage in between VG. Have able to pick up one of the mates, but the mates have had to stop and now taking a fight. Gravity with the drop. Major Grief put himself in a wicked position. The problem is he can't see the mates, but he can give Zoo major grief here.
Absolutely.
It looks like his name
just trying to kind of be underneath there, and it looks like Jetsy's also going to get found out by Mushu, and it looks like Mushu might not be able to get the. Or excuse me, Mushu's going to get out of there and try and play for some kind of placement for his team, as everything went to hell for GT at this point. The mates sending it into the water, trying to swim across, but little do they know where VG are going to be at, as VG are just waiting for the mates to get into this. And unfortunately for Tacticals, he's underwater, and he's not going to have any kind of defense mechanism. As if they spot him out, it's clean headshots for days.
They've seen him now. Flash out. They're able to get themselves up, so he'll be able to fight from that position. He's got
Great shots coming out from Tacticals, and a flush out comes onto Lemsis. He's still he's rolling around with no vest, but Gravity's also going to knock down Bibok, but Pado's going to get the thirst onto Bibok, and Philic is going to take down Gravity.
Mates just clearing kills, mate. They are going hell for leather. Mates want the win.
Mates want the win. They want the kills. They want all of the smoke possible, and I believe it's only up to Tacticals and Oki at this point.
And they're in the eyesight of GTS.
They don't even have any meds. Tacticals just fully boosted, just praying, and unfortunately GTS manages to get the headshot onto Tacticals as he's getting ready to start drowning.
GTR should be able to clear up Zoo here. Down to a one-man.
Oki having to use his last first aid at this point. Getting tagged up too from Fenton. Has to try and make zone. He has about 9 health, and unfortunately he's just going to deny points and die to zone. Very fortunate for the WC team, as one of the top contenders are going to be going out relatively early. And it looks like ATR Poly getting taken down. The Zoo boys still 3 up, 1 down, but they might not be able to get the quick res onto that. That's a great nade.
That's a great nade. Tagged by VE, pushed him out, but the nade was spot on.
Absolutely great use of every utility piece that they have, and it's all up to just Embraces. JJ managed to go down extremely early. Polly and Hazy also going down in some quick fights. Zedar Spree taking down Tickle, and oh my god, everything might be going to hell for WC, as all that's up is Mushu, and they're getting third-partied in the back at this point. Mushu, the last one up, getting shot at over by, I believe that's Vampsy. In a 1v1 with Vampsy, and Vampsy's going to manage to take it, but Vampsy's also down to a one-shot, and he's going to get taken down by ESP.
Mate, those guys went toe-to-toe for that. They didn't care. They both pulled up and they went for the points aggressively. That wasn't crazy. ATR though, going out by ATR.
Wow. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but look at Desto's strat. I'm just saying, look at Desto's strat. Hide in a car, have your gun out, be able to shoot. But for the most part, he's hiding in a car inside zone with a ridge that nobody can really shoot him at.
Not a bad play. Let's have a quick look at the action replay. Literally, the guys went toe to toe here. Look, ZR pull straight up, WC put up, bang. Literally a heavyweight boxing match, back and forward, leading it down to a 1-on-1. Just Vampsy having this little bit of the cover with the trees, able to really use the cover, but everyone else digging out Mishu there, sending WC unfortunately out, but shockingly out in 30th place.
Ali getting taken down as well from Philic as he continues to try and make his way towards the zone, as Zoo is putting on the pressure on both sides as well. Philic just trying to outgun some people. Ah, he almost did too.
Yeah, down to 7
As
HP.
Birdie's going to get taken down. Rouser looks like he's going to be able to get the reses. They're kind of hidden inside of the smoke. GTS look like they're going to be able to capitalize on this. Cumi is going to get taken down by Lizard as ESP continues their lead.
Able to get into the point plot. Able to get into the point pot. Jeez, get my words out. We're seeing ESP. They're taking the, I suppose, the real one compounds in. It's going to go two ways here. We're going to see Pickle and Co lose the compounds. And or ESP, and it could shift down south or it could bounce up. But look at that, Pickle and Co getting the cars ready. Pato's doing Bernie with grenade. We're seeing GTS on the push now.
If you ladies and gentlemen look over at the leaderboard right now, you see that WC was in the lead by 5 points. If Zoo can continue what they are doing, they might take this, and ESP are also doing the same thing as well. So those two teams are in contention for first place if they can potentially hold on to what they're doing.
Yeah, it's all very close in the points bit here. Look, the mates are out, WC are out. Mates have got a good amount of kills though. WC picking up kills as well. So don't forget those boys are moving up, but it's really down to these guys. If they can hold out kills and placement, it could see it flip round.
Absolutely incredible. And what's crazy is this looked like that it may have gone south. And once, like I said, it went towards the northern part, causing almost every single team to panic. And when that happens, people start to make simple mistakes that other teams can capitalize on.
Yeah, no one was really ready for that shift, were they? No one got in a car. WC and ATR done the right thing, and they showed their experience there and shifted quick. Everyone else, though, a good couple of seconds before they even thought about it. You know they were flying about their maps and trying to ping locations. They just needed to get in the bloody car and get shifted.
Desto trying to make some kind of magic happen for the rest of GT as he continues to get shot at. That shack is completely open, but can he try and make it there?
No.
Car's about to blow up, and
Headshot.
unfortunately, Riot Cal takes down Desto as GT go out in 7th place as he continues to try and get them some kind of points, but not having the best outing for GT. Very unfortunate.
So GTS did take one of the VE boys. So VE now down to a 1, but GTS, these guys both up to go different ways. They're pushing their way down to zone, but we're seeing it. Team 1, Team 7, and Team 2 have to fight for this little corner, and they're all fighting for the shack.
The biggest problem right now is GTS actually might get third party in the back by Zoo at this point.
Yes, I think GTS pushed in a little bit too quickly there, unwaring that Zoo were going to come in on zone. They're all going for the same location, but this is all about timing.
Absolutely agreed. And Pato manages to actually sneak a first aid off of a dead body from either the WC boys as Fenton gets taken down by Rouser.
Now. You should now push in. They must be go for the crash. I expect the grenades to go out and then go in.
You have to absolutely try and use some kind of utility if you're going to try and save somebody at this point. But it looks like that Pato's just going to try and fight this alone, as he's going to take down one at this point. He has a broken vest, but unfortunately can't do much as Fenton's going to get the knock onto, or excuse me, the finish onto Fenton.
EWG should get involved in this though. EWG still holding out firm. We're now top 4 teams. I'm quite surprised that GWG, they should have done that 2 seconds ago.
Absolutely, they should have. But the biggest problem with that is that little hill that they can't see, so they can't gather all of the information. And it's up to the IGL at this point to try and discuss who is still alive, at least on Zoo. You have to try and keep an eye on that leaderboard. Dynamics and Wixie going to get the thirst over onto Beater, as I believe it's Pepe that is also knocked, and Lizard's going to get the quick res onto him, as they are now just a 2-man that have to move in 30 seconds. I believe Pickle and Co. have to be the team to control the rest of this map.
So Zoo having to push their way into GWG, but they're pushing into ground that no one else. There he goes. He's going to go down to a molly there.
Great molly.
Yeah, absolutely great molly.
Absolutely great molly. Dynamics actually going to get taken down by Pepe, and that's going to be huge. That even might open a little bit of a hole.
Who should really flip round on these guys, and they are.
Antopop realizing that Zoo are just starting to finally crash into this. Zoo and Feast wasting a couple bullets and managed to sneak or get his way into the zone, at least getting himself into that shack that can be promising unless a nade flies up into there. They have to be extremely careful at this point.
So not bad placement in the car. Would have thought better placement here for Zoo, but they've done the right thing. They've pushed themselves into an area where they can actually now contend for the end zone. Don't forget these guys are second.
If Zoo can outlast the rest of the ESP, they might be able to hold on to a first place win over here. As I believe ESP is only on 3 kills and Zoo is on 4 kills, and they're already currently leading. Blizzard going down to Rotters. Pepe trying to just bandage up at this point.
Antopop
back on his zone.
Good nade there by Cal, and Antopop's not to nading himself. He's gone. Here comes the secondary game. Wow, right, Cal with a double nade, mate. One apiece.
Look at Pickle and Co just tearing apart everybody at this point. Zoo actually is going to take first now, as ESP are going to be the first ones out. And Cal leading the charge with 4 of the 9 kills, as Rotters has the other 3, so it's 7 total between them as they continue to try and frag out between the both of them. Dynamics getting taken down by Zoofeast. They didn't need to push up onto this as crazy as they did.
I quite liked it though. I like the car Molly combo. That was decent. It just didn't go quite as they wanted it to.
But now Cal gets taken down, and Zoom, it looks like they're in a position to take over first.
2-on-1, mate. They just need to figure out where the last player is.
As well. And so now there's going to be a 3v1 situation when they didn't have to do that, and Zoo looks like they're going to be coming in first place.
Yeah, those gunshots going to tell Zoo where that last player is. They had no idea. Oh, this is the question is, how many kills did WC have?
WC didn't have that many kills. They got into that early fight and they got taken down by, I believe, I forgot exactly who it was, but Wixie getting headshotted. We'll talk about that a little later. And there you have it, ladies and gents. Zoo taking the tournament as they finish strong with a first place and 8 kills, coming in first back-to-back times to do a little repeat just to put every team on notice.
Wow, yeah, good games there from Zoo. There was moments where multiple moments at the end there where they could have lost it, but aggressive play sometimes works out, and I think the game-changing moment for them is they had the vision to overtake GWG there and flip around on them, allowing them to get to a position where they could control out the guys behind. They put themselves in a position for the end zone and then taking the dub. We'll see Pickle coming in second, ESP are in third, GWG, they've had a good day actually. They're coming in 4th place, and GTS taking 5th. Let's have a quick look at the action replay before we get to the leaderboard. Obviously, yeah, just at the very end here, we obviously Wixie's down. The guys just missed the crazy car Molly combo that was happening. That's what I'm gonna say on that one. But yeah, pushing down the hill, left it down to a one-man. The gunshots gave it away. We saw Zoo on the rotation. Those guys were only going to go around one way and try and run him over. Wixie obviously, unfortunately, going down to a headshot there. We're down to a 1s. Not able to pick anything up. Winner, chicken dinner. Zoo taking the final game there from the boys. That was a good competition. I definitely thought that we had some great movements, some great gameplay, some teams doing really things well, and certain teams like not being as aggressive I'd want them to be, especially at this high level, and putting things down to a coin toss. I think fundamentally, as I love saying that word, is the zones and the flight paths were awful for these teams today. They were utterly shocking. I'm just trying to do the maths now. The big question is, did WC hold out to it? I don't know.
I don't believe so. I think Zoo took over with that first place.
Yeah, well, if I'm just pinging this over, so obviously with WC were the first win, Mates in the second, Rebel took 3rd, and Zoo took 4th. But if I remember right, Zoo were always up the top there with a good amount of kills. Player of the match for you, if you had to take anyone? MVP of the evening, Doc? and Doc has gone. MVP for me, a couple of things is great movements and great play. Ando Pop doing well. Ghosted though from GT though, just someone that maybe not getting the high amount of kills, but able to put themselves in a position where really holding the angles, really picking up the reses when needed it happening. If it wasn't for players like that, you wouldn't be able to clear things up just as consistently. Now, first things first, we have to thank everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. As I said before, obviously I am over on the YouTube now for content, so obviously the video will go straight up live for you guys to go watch back. Obviously subscribing doesn't cost you anything on YouTube, hence why I moved over as well. The things happening this week, so we've got season 3, so obviously PAL were unable to fill one of the lobbies, so what we're mostly going to do is we're meant to have the first day kicking off tomorrow. We're going to move that date to Friday just to allow a couple more teams to move over and sign up from EU. The NA lobby is now full, I believe, and then our Thursday lobby is, I think it's only got 2 or 3 slots in. So if you want to get involved in season 3, hit us up on Discord. There's a couple more slots in there. I'm going to update tomorrow for Friday shortly. What's happening is we've got 3 lobbies of qualifiers. If we don't fill 3 lobbies, we'll run 2 anyway, because the first game will be a runoff. The idea is that only 32 teams will go through. They will be put into 2 groups, Group A and Group B, and then we will play the following week. That following week, we will take the top 6 on the Group A and Group B. They'll go through to the grand final, and then the middle 8 will have to fight it out again. They've got one more chance to get through. We'll only be taking the top 4 out of the middle section. Unfortunately, in the group stages, if you end up in the bottom and you are sitting yourself in last place, you will be eliminated at that point. The week after, we will play the elimination round, and then we'll go through to the grand final, taking the 16 teams. I believe the prize pool at the moment stands will be at 1,100, I believe. I need to just check and make sure everyone's paid in. But we're looking for a high payout, low amount a week. So good turnaround on this one, I believe. So yeah, hit us up on Discord. If you're unsure, not sure the format, or not sure where to sign up, just drop me a DM, or anyone on the staff will be able to help out. I am very much getting back involved. I've been asked to come back. I've been off for about 2 months, maybe, Doc. I don't know, maybe a little bit less than that.
It's a little hiatus.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm back. So I'm going to be taking back over ownership and running of EPT with support from McVitie. I think she's still doing it. He just needs to let me know. And the idea being is that we'll just control up and make things great again, in the great words of the Americans. Got a couple of events. I'm trying to work with their community to try and tie things up, and speaking with SSL, so we can do there. Also, I want to speak to some other Discords around, and we are, as we know, and as you've seen already, we are working with CTG to try and bridge the NA-EU gap. So you're going to see a lot more of CTG events being posted up in EPT and vice versa. So I really want to get to a situation where we're having an NA versus EU, and then like Doc and myself, or Ice and myself can host, and then we've got an EU and we've got a NA perspective on things. So that being said, any last round out words for you, Doc? Anything you want to close up on?
Not really. It was a great game overall. It was multiple great games. It was definitely a tough tournament, tough battle. Zoo coming out with it, I believe it was. They managed to try and turn it up. I believe it was the last 2 games, and just out-edged WC for the most part. But it was great fights. It was great team fights overall. Great rotations, simple mistakes that were capitalized on that we saw from other teams. And for the most part, we got to see what comp PUBG on both sides look like. We got to see, like you said, the NA versus the EU perspective of it. And with that being said, that's all I really have to say. It was a great tournament.
Right, guys, if we don't get the team signed up tomorrow, obviously I will see you Wednesday evening. And yeah, Wednesday evening for the CTG season 3 kickoff. And if I don't speak to you before then, have a great evening, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.